So good stuff there as well. And you'll hear a little bit of that conversation coming up here in just a little bit. But welcome to one, welcome to all today on this this snowy Tuesday. Now, apparently in the area that I live, the average snowfall for the month of March is like 11 inches. Not happy about it, but got a little bit of a dusting yesterday. For those watching on the Bud Light live stream, we now go outside to the Tiki Bar, and we'll show you that coming up here momentarily. But yeah, there was some snow in the area. Not happy about the snow at all. I am so ready for summer. It isn't funny. Tomorrow, by the way, St. Patrick's Day. So I don't know if we're going to do a chug challenge tomorrow as well, but because I got some meetings after the show. but tomorrow, St. Patrick's Day. It doesn't have the same feel, though. You know, it just doesn't. Doesn't have the same feel as a normal St. Patrick's Day when normally you would be. There it is. There's the outside. Tiki Bar looking kind of sad if you're following us on the Bud Light live stream. Just looking sad. But that being said, so tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, and it doesn't have the feel of a normal St. Patrick's Day. It's got the feel of a very sad. Now, not like last year when they closed everything down on St. Patrick's Day. At least tomorrow things are open, and you can go out, you can do a few things, you know. At least tomorrow there's the ability to move around a little bit, whereas last year was basically nah, baby, nah. Just wasn't going to happen. So this year's a little bit better, okay, but we're not wide open yet. But tomorrow we'll figure something out. Although I have to admit I'm pretty excited. Tomorrow I did get my T-shirt. It came in the mail. I will debut it tomorrow specifically for St. Patrick's Day. So I'm excited about that. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up? Go ahead and feel free to do so. But like I mentioned, the Patriots, they signed Hunter Henry to a contract, picking him up from the San Diego, or I should say the L.A. Chargers. Yesterday, the Patriots agreed to sign former Titans tight end, Jonnu Smith. That means they have the top two tight ends on their list of the NFL's top 100 free agents. The top two tight ends are both now going to play in New England. That's just, they're loading up, man. They're trying, and remember, they got Cam Newton, so you would assume they're going to be some kind of a player for another quarterback in the draft, if indeed they Bill Belichick sees somebody he likes, but they just continue to load up. So the Patriots took a year off. Guys opted out. They're going to get a lot of those guys coming back. They've already signed quite a few players. Then you've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers telling Chris Godwin, linebackers Shaq Barrett, Lavonte David, that Bruce Arians literally said they were confident in getting them back, and he said, quote, "Your ass ain't going nowhere," end quote, to his team star players. In other words, don't worry about hitting free agency. We got you. We're bringing you back. And then you got Tom Brady restructuring his deal to bring some money out onto the cap. So they're trying to keep the band together. Meanwhile, the Packers in this, they are trying to keep the band together, at least best they can. Although Corey Linsley now out of here. He is off to greener pastures on the West Coast. But you still got Aaron Rodgers, still got Aaron Jones, still got your complement of wideouts, adding in Devin Funchess. Now you wait and see what they're going to do with Tonyan and Mercedes Lewis and such when it comes to the tight end position, and then let the fortification of that defense begin. There you have it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, feel free to do so. Getting a lot of consternation because I did not pick the Badgers to beat North Carolina in the tournament. And I get it. You know, a lot of people, they want to see the hometown team do well. I want to see them do well. But when it comes to money, if you feel strongly the Badgers had a good showing in the Big Ten tournament, that you believe they're ready to fly, and you want to put your money where your mouth is, then let me know. We can do something. You can hit me up. We can do something. But I got Badger fan mad at me, and I'm sorry. I mean, it's not that I'm rooting for them to lose, even though I have a little bit of money on the tournament because I got North Carolina getting beat in the next round. So it's not like it's going to cost me a lot if the Badgers end up winning. But I'm sorry. money riding on it, I had to go in the direction of the Badgers only because down the stretch, North Carolina played better basketball. That's it. Now, I probably shouldn't be picking the entire bracket until later today when we find out if any of the teams have tested positive for COVID. But because then you're going to find out if teams are actually in the because what would happen if, say, Baylor all of a sudden tested positive and you got Hartford moving on, That would change the tournament dramatically. So I probably shouldn't have picked my bracket just yet. I mean, I will have to adjust it because my official bracket for the money doesn't have to be in until tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So I can still change it if I decide to do so. But once I pick it, I'm usually pretty good about not going back on my word when it comes to that. So we'll see. We'll see if anything happens tonight that's going to force me to change the bracket. The official picks tomorrow, but as of right now, I'm pretty good with my bracket. I'm one of those people that if I have to take a look at, say, statistics and rankings and such, and I'm unsure about a pick, I'll do it for a little bit of research. But for the most part, I pay attention to college basketball. I watch standings. I watch conferences. I watch matchups throughout the season. I don't know the stat of every player and every name of every player ever to play college basketball like some do, and I give them a lot of kudos. But I do pay attention. I enjoy college basketball. So I try to watch as much of it as I can. And so I feel pretty good about my picks. I've done this now, I don't know, 40 years. I mean, since I was probably in my, late grade school days, So when I was playing basketball, I mean, my friends and I all had a pool. Our teams had a pool. You get into high school, all my buddies had a pool. So I've been doing it kind of the same way. And I'd say, somebody asked me yesterday, he said, how many pools have you won over your lifetime? I don't know. More than single digits, but I'm not going to claim that I won 20 of them because maybe like 11, 10, something like that. I've done pretty well where I've been in the money. But I've also done horribly where after the second weekend or maybe after the second round, I'm pretty much out where you start losing Final Four teams and suddenly it's over. So it's been a little bit more difficult as of late because the level of play in the mid-majors versus the Power Five has become that gap has closed so much when it comes to the level of play. So, it hasn't been as easy to pick. But I'm still, I enjoy the tournament. I tell you what, I enjoy, like I said, I got the Girl Scout cookie sitting right here for those that are watching on the live stream. I enjoy watching a tournament, having the Girl Scout cookies, a little bit of milk. Later on that night, maybe some wings, a beer, good to go. I know it blows the diet right out of the water. Last year, I didn't have to worry about it because we didn't have a tournament, but it doesn't matter. I look forward to this time of season. So who you got? Who you got in the tournament? Who's your final because you used the Badgers? I'm not feeling terrible, to be honest with you. I'm not feeling like I've screwed up my life because of it. You know what I mean? So I have Baylor. I have North Carolina beating Wisconsin, all Ohio State, and then Ohio, Michigan, and Zags as my Final Four. I can't pick against Gonzaga. All the years they broke my heart, I can't pick against Gonzaga. They're just such a good team. If you go back and you look at some of their numbers and you watch some of their games, they're just so good. Everybody on that team has a role. I know Villanova, I've got them beating Winthrop. I have them beating Purdue, even without their best player. I still think Jay Wright's a hell of a coach, but that may be the one that gets me. But then again, I've got Baylor beating Villanova or Baylor beating Purdue, so Baylor advances. So it doesn't kill me. You know what I mean? Texas Tech getting the win over Utah State. There are some upsets to be had in the tournament, too. I'm excited because there are some upsets. When you talk about the upset chances, they had a really good piece written on the Four Letter Network where they've got number 11 UCLA knocking off number 6 BYU, a 41% chance. You've got Georgetown. I picked Georgetown. 12-5 upset there, baby. I got Georgetown knocking off Colorado. I think that might be a no-brainer. Georgetown playing really good basketball down the stretch. Number 11 Michigan State over number 6 BYU. the upset chance is less than 30%. 23% they have in that pick. You've got number 14, Abilene Christian Wildcats over number 3, the Texas Longhorns. Now, I can't do it. It's 13% upset chance. I'm not going with it. Anything less than 30, I'm not doing it. You've got UNC Greensboro, the Spartans, upsetting number 4, Florida State. I can't do that. That ain't happening. Number 15, Iona, has a 4% chance of upsetting Alabama. Ain't happening. Mount St. Mary's or Texas Southern upsetting number 1, Michigan. Ain't happening. No, some of these things are ridiculous. But the number 14 Colgate Raiders, they've got a upsetting number 3 Arkansas at a 35% pick. I didn't pick that one. So you got some good picks, but it's interesting to see. You've got Oral Roberts, 6% chance to upset Ohio State. Not picking that one. So Brett says my final 4: Gonzaga, Illinois, Baylor, and Florida State. Going on a limb, a little bit of Florida State action. So he's got Florida State beating Michigan, most likely then beating Alabama. And the Final 4 is where Florida State finds themselves facing off against the Zags. Notice says, let's go Oral Roberts University. LOL. I don't think it's going to happen. But that's what the tournament's all about. I'm excited about it. 877-867-1670. Talking a little tournament. We'll talk some brackets. You got the Patriots and the Bucs making all kinds of moves. The Packers, we're just kind of sitting here waiting still for the white papal smoke to come out. I'm sure it'll come out as soon as need be regarding the restructuring of the contract of one Aaron Rodgers. We'll talk some Brewers baseball coming up here in a little bit as well. Hang in there. Got people on hold. We got emails and stuff flying through. We got people chiming in over on the live stream. All kinds of good stuff today. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
High fives, Wisconsin.
Gina Della from Pella. What's the celebration?
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin was just named NARI's Distributor of the Year.
That's a big deal.
You're not kidding, but there's more. The International Builder Show just named Pella's new Easy Slide Operator Best Window and Door Product of the Year.
Another Pella innovation that eliminates the repetitive cranking motion on casement and awning windows with an easy slide.
A real blessing for those with hand and wrist issues.
Why crank your windows when you can easy slide, right?
But there's still more.
Oh, you mean based on the 2019 Consumer Survey on leading national brands that Pella is rated number 1 for highest value, highest quality.
Yes, but there's still more. Now get 5 years, no interest, plus 5 months, no first payment.
Pella now, pay later. High fives all around.
But only through March 31st. Set your free consultation today at PellaWI.com/radio or 855-PELLA-WI.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
How we're looking. Bill Michaels Show, we continue on. We are glad you are with us. Broadcasting live at a Bud Light live stream. We are also brought to you by our friends at New Mail Medical. Want to remind you also that our friends at Quick Trip, the official fuel and convenience store sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network, we got some good things planned with Quick Trip. Working on a couple things that are going to be of fun come summertime. I think we're going to do a little grilling out. Few of you winners or losers, depending on if you end up actually entering and want to hang out with us. I guess, maybe you look at it as a bad thing. Who knows? But free food, I always look at it. If it's free, it's for me. So we got some things planned for you this year. Things are coming down the pipe, as they say. I'm liking it. Liking it a lot. Jasmine says, what is the best St. Patty's Day bar? It depends on where you go. I mean, anything with an O in it. O'Malley's, O'Donoghue's, O'Shanahan's, O'Hanrahan, Oh Come All Ye Faithful. I mean, I don't know. Anything with an O in it's always a good one. There's Dublin Square, which is out in La Crosse. That's a good one. There's Elmo's next to me. He's hawking up something. There's County Clare, which is fantastic. That is on the east side of Milwaukee. The other one, there is a place, the best corned beef sandwich ever. And I know a lot of people do it, okay? But the best corned beef sandwich ever is at a place, it is a dive bar on North Avenue in Milwaukee called McBob's. And I used to live over there. And then, we'll just say the neighborhood wasn't good after a while. And there was a We Energy guy up in a bucket working on the cable lines and phone lines and stuff and got shot in the bucket. And that was back in like early 1999 or 2000. And that's when I moved away. But the neighborhood went through that renovation where it went down and then it started to come back when everybody started to buy the old homes. And then everybody was watching, Joanna Gaines, and everybody started flipping houses and making them all look like country farmhouses and everything, which for a while it was cool watching, Fixer Upper with Joanna Gaines. And then you realize that everything she does is exactly the same. And then it all turned to crap. So anyway, this area is right on North Avenue and a place called McBob's, best corned beef sandwich in the history of corned beef. It's fantastic. So beyond that, anything with an O in it, you're pretty much good. Anything with a hands in it, you're pretty much good. H-A-N-A-S or H-A-N-S, whatever it is. So, so many good places. So many good places. Chris says there's a place called Around the Corner. Brett says O'Leary's in Eau Claire. Bob Buckets Pub in Racine has an awesome Reuben sandwich. Well, see, Reuben's German. Reuben's a German sandwich, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, because you're throwing sauerkraut in there. Sauerkraut's like a German thing. Jason says, I just like green beer. There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Any place serving green beer is probably your fare right there. So there you go. There you go. But those are some of the places that I know of. I mean, but tomorrow I might go out tomorrow night, but tomorrow during the day and beer chugging during the show, I don't think I can do. I mean, for those of you that have ever hung out with me and we've imbibed together, I'm relatively a lightweight. Not a big drinker. I kind of power crush, to be honest with you. I'll power crush like the first 3 or 4, and then I'm done. The rest of the night, I'm just, I'm sipping maybe a water. That's it. I'm done with that because I'm usually the driver, so I don't ever, 4 hours go by after 4 beers. I'm usually pretty good. I'm downing a bunch of water, and either that or if I still feel any effects, and I'll Uber home. But for the most part, I'm usually the driver, so I don't do a whole lot of crushing. But for years, and I can't wait for this to come back. Once we get back to the sense of normalcy, our friends from Bud Light, I used to take off on St. Patrick's Day because we would take a bus. And we would take the Bagpipers and the Guinness Girls and everybody. We'd all go to different bars. We would hit 20 bars in 12 hours. And it was a party all day long. And that was when you got home and you said, okay, you know what? I'm going to try to wake up come April. I think April's a good time to get back out of bed. So there you go. Jason says Bud Light should produce a green beer for this time of year. I think they do. But ever since they got bought with InBev, their other Irish beer is Guinness. They distribute Guinness as well, so they don't really need green beer. But they come out with green cans. They have green cans, but the last 2 years they haven't done anything with it because of the pandemic or the remnants thereof, which is sad. But I don't know beyond that, Jasmine. So thank you for the email, though. Good discussion. 877-867 if you want to chime in. 1670. Let's go to Big Joe, listening to us in Madison. Big Joe, what's happening, man?
Bill, you got me fired up right now, man.
Why's that?
Corned beef and cabbage is up my alley. I love some green beer.
Yes.
But the reason that you got me fired up, you're talking about your bracket. You're talking about how you're taking Gonzaga to go really far. Bill, are you smoking crack with your grandma? Gonzaga, good. They play. I'm sorry. They play
I know.
Cookie cutter cupcake. They play a cookie cutter cupcake, Joel. They have it so easy. Oh, we're going to make it to the NCAA as the number 1 seed. Well, yeah, you don't play anybody.
I know.
Okay, I saw on their resume that they played like Iowa and they beat them, and was it North Carolina? Was it them that they played?
I believe so. Yes. Yes.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Bill. I'm going to pick them, but am I going to pick them to win it all? No.
Who you got winning it all?
And I told Ebo this too. I don't like the Badgers' chances either. I like the Badgers' chances to win in the hockey championship, but not in the basketball. I honestly think, Bill, in my honest opinion, it's going to be a team out of the Big Ten.
It very well could be.
Basketball.
I agree. It very well could be. I mean, their signature wins, if you go back, they beat Kansas at the beginning of the season. They beat Auburn. They beat West Virginia. They have beat, let's see here, they beat Iowa. They beat Virginia as well. So they have a few signature wins on their docket. After that, though, I don't think they played a ranked team. And remember, they also had, 5 or 6 games throughout the season that were canceled, and they had to reschedule because of COVID. They had COVID issues throughout the season. So, I get it, but they have some signature wins that aren't bad on their resume, and they break my heart all the time. I agree with you. I couldn't pick against them because what's going to happen is the year that I pick them or don't pick them, that's the year they won it all.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll probably be made a fool of if North Carolina ends up losing to if they end up losing to Wisconsin, because I'm going to get all sorts of crap from Ebo anyway. So
Right. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, we can all take crap from Ebo. Ebo's a good crap giver, and he doesn't pound you with it.
Ebo and I get along great. He loves my pop culture references. He loves my major league quotes. Me and him get along great.
I love Major League too, by the way. Just an FYI. And Major League 2, back to the minors or whatever it was terrible.
Yep. I've crushed many beers with Ebo and Nelson. It's been fun.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. Anything else?
You did, though, buddy. You had me fired up and riled up with Gonzaga. I've always thought of them as like the little engine that could, but they break your heart.
Who do you think Iowa knocks them off? They get beat by Iowa, and then you got a Big Ten Final Four in Iowa, Michigan, Ohio State, and Illinois?
I'll be honest with you, Bill. I have 2 teams in the Final Four. That's what I have on my ESPN bracket.
You mean two Big Ten teams?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
I have them in the Final Four.
Okay.
Yep. I have Illinois and I have Iowa.
Okay. Who do you got in the other brackets? Who do you got in the South and in the East? Who do you got? Baylor?
I got Baylor.
And Alabama?
I actually do like Bama.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Let's do this. Okay. If the Zags win it all, you owe me a beer. And if the Zags get beat, I owe you a beer.
That's fair. I think we can set it up with Ebo probably.
That's because he's a power drinker, and he's also got himself the only giant 4-mile funnel in probably the county. So we're good to go.
Honestly, Ebo believes in the anytime drink, the Bloody Mary. I'm part of his movement. I love me a Bloody Mary.
There's some good Bloody Marys in this state too, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
You want to know where I would recommend for a very, very good
where
Bloody Mary? Go on Sundays. There's a little place in Stoughton, Wisconsin, my hometown.
Okay.
Pleasant Springs Pub. Go there.
In Stoughton. All right. Noted, man. I appreciate it. Good stuff. He drops off. You get on board. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Ebo, it sounds like you and he have imbibed quite a few times.
Bill, there's been a few times, yes, with Big Joe, no doubt about it. But anytime drink, I'm a full believer. But he is steadfast, just like you, that Wisconsin's not going to beat North Carolina. Shame.
And you have Wisconsin beating North Carolina. Is there a reason why?
In pen right here on my bracket. Yeah, Bill, I just think, North Carolina, you hear the name, everyone gets like, oh, Tar Heels, oh, Roy Williams.
Right.
North Carolina has been very, very unimpressive this year. Wisconsin, I know they've been unimpressive down the stretch, but in moments they've looked good. I think the battle-tested Big Ten that, Wisconsin has battled through can get it done in the opening round against North Carolina. I'm taking it. Could be homerism, but I'm taking it.
Yeah, North Carolina, 10-6 in conference. And what is their big signature win this year? Because you can't count it over Kentucky because Kentucky sucks. So what is their signature win? They had the game against Clemson postponed.
Listen, they have a very similar schedule to Wisconsin with wins and losses. Our guy Nelly over here went through what Rowdy did. They lost to Marquette. They've lost to Iowa. God, I'd have to look at what a signature win is.
They lost.
It's kind of like Wisconsin.
They lost by 3 to Florida, a good Florida State team in the tournament. They ended up beating Virginia Tech.
They have bad losses too on their schedule. Hell, I mean, just like Wisconsin to Louisville.
They lost to Marquette. They lost to Virginia. That's not terrible. They did lose to Clemson. Oof.
Wisconsin's better in all the advanced analytics, but if you buy in what all the nerds say, then I guess you go with this. But the eye test struggles for Wisconsin. What right now UNC probably looks a little better, but I think just because of how good the Big Ten is, Wisconsin can beat North Carolina just with that battle-tested conference.
They won 6 out of their last 9. And they started picking it up after they lost to Clemson, then they beat Duke, then they got Miami postponed, and then they lost to Virginia, and then the Virginia Tech game was postponed. Then after that, they won 6 out of their last 9. At least they were playing winning basketball against crap teams down the stretch. I mean, Wisconsin was playing tougher teams, obviously, within the Big Ten because they were playing all ranked teams. And North Carolina really wasn't, other than Florida State and Virginia Tech. But both of those teams, they beat. Both of those teams were ranked. So I just feel that they were playing better basketball down the stretch, regardless of the competition. I just felt that they were playing better basketball. That's the reason I chose them. And because we have seen time and again, the Badgers get off to a big lead. You get really excited. You feel good. The team's kind of got all their woes behind them, and then they can't hold a lead to save their life. So that's kind of where I'm at. And then I watched North Carolina come back against Virginia Tech and end up beat them. And I kept thinking to myself, this is a team that still, they keep playing all the way to the buzzer. And the Badgers, while they keep playing to the buzzer, they keep giving up big leads. And that's what bothers me about that team.
Yeah, I mean, Wisconsin obviously don't want to be stumbling into the tournament like they are, but against teams like Iowa, better teams in the country, they hung tough with them. It's just, unfortunately, they couldn't be consistent and do a whole complete game. But there's life for Beck.
We now have beverages riding upon this. So I'm
love it.
Better. Okay, cool, man. All right, more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes.
Check. 1 2 1 2.
Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute.
Check, check, check. That's better.
Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. We are glad you are hanging out with us today. As always, appreciate it. Hopefully you're enjoying your day no matter where it is you are. Kinger says, picking Gonzaga to win the tournament sounds like me playing Powerball. I want to change my numbers. But if I do, that'll be the time that my numbers actually are drawn. I get it, man. Every time I think about just, maybe I shouldn't, then I do, and I always get screwed. So I'm just kind of hanging in there with my picks. I'm going to post them too. When it becomes official later today that the teams have all, arrived in Indy, they have all been tested. We don't have anybody getting bounced out of the tournament because of COVID. Then I'll be good to go. I'll be ready for it. Chris says that he believes Baylor is going to win it all. He says, how do you have Ohio State beating Baylor? I'm just saying Ohio State played some good basketball. The way they played against Illinois in the finals of the Big Ten tournament, I thought it was a tremendous game. Ohio State has at times will have an innate ability not to be able to close games out. That's their biggest flaw. But Illinois, they're athletic. They run the court. They do everything well. So I thought it was a tremendous game. I don't know if Baylor has that same game in them. You know what I mean? So we'll see. This is what the madness is all about. This is why we like it the way we do. Right? Kevin says, what is up with the get it? Last year in the third round and just signed two. You can see what they want to do. They want big, strong tight ends. They love Gronk. They love Hernandez. You go in that direction. That's the way that Bill Belichick likes to run his offense. He likes a couple of good wideouts and good tight ends because tight end play is a mismatch. And Bill Belichick, if anything, is a master at creating the mismatch. So that's why he likes to do this. He's dedicated so far $81.3 million in guaranteed money so far in the 4 free agent signings that he's put together. I mean, they're back. And then with some of the players that opted out from last season coming back off the defensive unit, I think they're going to be pretty good. It's not that I think that they're all of a sudden going to overtake the AFC, but I mean, they very well could. But the problem is with the Patriots, you've got Cam Newton. Cam Newton hasn't been Cam Newton since Cam Newton got his ass whipped in the Super Bowl and decided to be a petulant baby and walk off the stage. He's not been the same since. So all that dabbing and Superman crap and all that stuff that he did, he's been shown the door ever since. And, it wasn't that it was unexpected. You could just see it. He was a runner. He was a guy that was taking a lot of hits. And they kept talking about he'd be a safety or a linebacker in today's day. Well, that's fine. But if he's going to keep lowering his head and getting beat up, that eventually catches up with you. And when you lose a step in the NFL and you lose your legs a little bit, you're done. And he's not that accurate to begin with. Curtis says, finally found the news station. It's great. Curtis, you the man. You the man. Appreciate it, man. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Let's do this. When we come back, I do want to talk a little Brewers baseball, because as we sit here on the eve of St. Patrick's Day, we are also only a couple of weeks away from the Brewers being back at Miller Park. If you saw yesterday, I retweeted it, the Brewers tweeted it out, but the grass coming, or the tarps coming off the grass at Miller Park, or American Family Field, I should say. It's going to take me a while to get used to that. American Family Field. The grow lights are going on. We know that. They're going to make that thick, plush green, painted up, red, white, and blue. Opening day. Get giddy. Get ready for the season. I'm excited. Travis Shaw is he's now a contracted baseball player with the Milwaukee Brewers. He's going to be the opening day third baseman, most likely, unless something has changed or will change. But for the most part, the Brewers going to keep him around, and hopefully he finds new life in the Brewers system once again. So that is your third baseman. And now it's just a matter of kind of honing things up, getting Lorenzo Cain ready for opening day. Whether or not he will be able to play on opening day, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully he can play in some games this coming weekend. But also coming up in the next hour, interesting conversation between Ryan Braun and Bob Uecker, for those that continually ask about Ryan Braun and his status. So we're going to hear that coming up as well. But a lot of that, we'll talk some Brewers when we come back. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
NCAA Final Four. If you buy any 20-ounce Coke product, you buy a 20-ounce Coke product or a Kitchen Cravings fried chicken product with your Quick Rewards card, you're automatically entered for a chance to win. You buy both of them at the same time, and you get 10 bonus entries. No purchase necessary. See store for details. Stop into our local Quick Trips. I keep telling you about that fried chicken. Oh, my God, that stuff is good. That stuff is so good. That's some of the best fried chicken. I was out yesterday. I was at Road America yesterday. And up in Elkhart Lake again. And I'd stopped at a Quick Trip on the way home. And I was kind of in between because I don't like eating late at night because it kind of lays on you and it adds fat. So I decided I'll try to eat a little bit healthier. So I stopped. I did get a couple of the tenders, and then I got one of those healthy snack packs. But man, you eat that stuff. Oh, that fried chicken is just so good, just so good. So stop there and pick some up for yourself, and tell me if it's not better than some of the national fast food chains. Man, it's so good. Good stuff. I have faith in the Brewers defense, Ronald says. My biggest worry right now is their starting pitching. Strong bullpen, and should have a strong bench. Who came off the 40-man roster for Shaw? I think they filled the roster for Shaw. I don't think anybody came off the roster. I know they were moving some guys around, but I would have to look, to be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know if there was a subsequent move with that. So we'll find out. I'll take a look around, I promise, during the break and see what I can track down for you. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to chime in, do it. Give us a shout. This one's from Susan. Susan says, love me some Travis Shaw. What he went through with his daughter years ago was a tremendous season for him throughout one of the most difficult times in his life. I was working at Children's Hospital. He used to come after the games and visit all the time. We just felt for him having to go back to the ballpark and play baseball while his little girl was sick in the hospital. HIPAA laws prevent me. Okay, I understand that. I don't need details, to be honest with you. I had talked to Travis numerous times throughout that process, and he had kind of given us the lowdown as to what was going on. But she says this is a guy you can just pull for because he wants to play extremely well for the Brewers because they're giving him that second opportunity when they stuck by his side the first time. And I 100% agree. 100% agree. So he's a guy that you can all pull for. Without a doubt. Ian Rappaport reporting that the Rams working to get under the cap. They're restructuring Jalen Ramsey's contract right now, creating an additional $12 million worth of space. Wide receiver Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp's and Aaron Donald's conversion should be done soon as well. That gets them well under that threshold. So that's what the Rams are doing. In the meantime, you got Corey Linsley signing 5 years, $62.5 million, $13 million in signing bonus, $26 million guaranteed. $26 million guaranteed for Corey Linsley. So you knew once you heard the numbers, yeah, that's the reason Corey Linsley not coming back with the Packers, because they just couldn't afford that kind of money. But by the way, we mentioned it a little while ago, and I'd be remiss if I didn't re-mention this because I know Evo talked about it, but Cole Caulfield, the nation's leading scorer, got that shot in overtime, and now the Badgers at 28-1, that is 28-1, will face Minnesota or Michigan for the championship. Do we know who they're facing at, Evo?
Yeah, they're facing Minnesota tonight at 7.
Minnesota, that's what I thought. I said or Michigan in the story, but I thought Minnesota ended up winning that game. I didn't fully pay attention, but regardless, the Badgers are in the championship game. So I'm excited for Badger men's hockey. Yes.
Check this out, dude.
Gordy will drive it in. Watch out. Breakaway to win it. Caulfield. He does.
Yeah, man.
That gives you goosebumps. Now, here's the question. Were there fans in the stands?
No, there were not.
Because there was crowd noise.
There's they had like some family members there for the team, but other than that, it was just cardboard cutouts.
When I heard that, I thought, did they have more than say 30% of fans in the stands? Because
if you're family members, you're a couple of them can go.
All right. Well, still, I mean, it's a great win, but the excitement of the call is what I was liking. I was liking to hear those fans in the background. So
it's awesome.
That's awesome. So the Badgers having a little success there as well. A lot of success. The Badgers hockey programs, both men and women's, has had its ups and downs, but it's constantly considered one of the better hockey programs in the country.
It's now solidified a hockey school, Bill, once again. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. They won a championship, what was it, about a decade ago?
Yeah, middle 2000s. Was it 2005, I want to say?
Maybe, yeah, okay, a little more than that. But the women's program has been good. Mark Johnson has done wonders there. I mean, it's always been, and you know what's really interesting, and I'll make it really quick, but Mark Johnson some years ago, maybe, I don't know, 8 years ago, got the Lombardi Award of Excellence, and we got a chance to spend an evening with him. That's back when I was presenting that award. Got a chance to spend an evening with him and talk. He was, as much as you want to talk about the Miracle on Ice team, he loves just talking about coaching hockey. I found it so fascinating, the passion that he had. And it was like, how can that not rub off and have success? So you talk about the luck of the program and what it's been over the last couple of decades. Ever since I came into this state back in '99, it was on the rise. And so it's always fun to watch. I've been to 2 Wisconsin hockey games. Loved them both. But that's back when you could fill the Kohl Center and the place was rocking.
Right.
So I can't wait to get back to those days.
Yeah, I had the associate head coach, Mark Strobel, on my show on the mornings here on Wednesdays, and they've been building the culture the past couple of years there, and they're finally seeing the fruits of their labor, pay off.
Yep.
It's awesome.
No doubt. It was 2006 when they won the championship.
Yeah, there you go.
2006. So good stuff. 1 hour down, 3 yet to go. And when we come back, I do want to let you hear the conversation between Bob Uecker and one Ryan Braun, who sounds more and more and more definitive. And we'll talk about that when we come back as well. Talk a little more Brewers baseball when we come back also. And we'll talk a lot more about the NFL. We got to talk some about free agency because you got the Buccaneers, Patriots, thing. You get a good sense as to what direction they're going to go. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We got more brackets to talk about as people continually hound me because I did not pick Wisconsin over North Carolina and saying that I'm completely crazy for picking Gonzaga in the Final Four or to win it all, I should say. So we'll get into that discussion. Who you got? And it's a little odd because normally we're 2 days away from college hoops in the beginning of the tournament, but really we're 2 days away from the play-in games, and then Friday is the beginning of the tournament. We'll talk about whether or not you even like that setup. So a lot to get to today. And I'm getting a whole list of Irish bars as people continue to pour in their recommendations for where to go tomorrow as St. Patrick's Day is about upon us. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next. stream as well. Certainly appreciate those of you paying attention to us and love it. I love the interaction. The live stream, for those that don't know, the live stream, if you hit us up, whether it's on YouTube, it's on Twitch, it's on the Facebook fan page, on Facebook Live, it's on Twitter and on Periscope. If there's another stream that you want to see us on, let me know. And we will certainly do our best to get over to that stream as well. But those are the four main ones that are out there: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And really appreciate all that subscribe. I really do. So if we would appreciate it, I would appreciate it if you take if you're over on YouTube, on Twitch, on Facebook, please either follow or like. If you're on YouTube and Twitch, like and subscribe. Thank you so much for paying attention to it. So. Chris says live stream, that's where all the action is. So there you go. Lazard, by the way, Alan Lazard getting his tender offer. That coming across. So Alan Lazard most likely going to hang out with the Green Bay Packers once that's done. Corey Linsley, much like you've already heard, off to greener pastures. He's going to join Brian Bulaga, and he's going to head out to L.A. To play for the Chargers. But that contract was huge. Simon says, couldn't they re-sign Corey Linsley? That would have kept everybody together. Nah, they really couldn't. They really couldn't. Not for that kind of money. $13 million in signing bonus, $26 million guaranteed, 5 years, $62 million. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So, Tiger Woods making the news, by the way. He has signed a long-term partnership with the company behind the PGA Tour 2K video game series. And the agreement returns the 15-time major champion to an industry he once dominated when it came to the video game side of things. So Tiger Woods making a return. Tiger Woods making a return when it comes to the 2K series. So that's a big deal. Got to be relevant some way, right? Another question from Joe. Joe said that they talk about Travis Shaw. If he's not playing third, would he be able to play first at all? And Travis Shaw today answering those questions with Tom Hardrecourt saying that there has been no talk of seeing any action over at first base. And when it was noted that Keston Hiura had been using his mitt, Shaw said, we can't both play first base at the same time. So the question then became relevant by saying, well, wait a minute. Are you going to be playing first base? And he kind of laughed and said, no, there's no talk of me going to first base. So. And by the way, speaking of Corey Linsley, his wife, Anna, wrote a little bit on Twitter, a thank you story. Just basically saying that, love Green Bay, we'll miss Green Bay, on and on. And so she posted that over on her Twitter account. So it's kind of sad when you talk, because you just think about players as commodities. They're just meat. Here you are. They're just meat, right? Comes into town, plays for you, cheer for him. Every now and then you get down on them, and then you look at them as a number. They're a figure. Is this too much? Is that too much? Is this enough? Do we have enough to pay this guy? If not, this guy's a commodity. And then when you see the families, that are involved, so it's that's when it hits home that these people are human, So when you see the wives and the kids on Twitter and saying so long and we'll miss you, much like last year when Ryan Braun's wife was tweeting out, we'll miss you, Milwaukee, loved our time here. I mean, that's when you really kind of knew. That's when you got the sense that Ryan Braun, for the most part, not coming back. And Ryan Braun yesterday sat in a booth with Bob Uecker, and he made a trip down to camp. We saw it over on Twitter when they started taking pictures and posting pictures and such yesterday of Ryan Braun being in camp. Ebo, do you have that conversation?
I do, Bill. I have it in its entirety if you'd like me to play
in
it.
its entirety. Yesterday, Bob Uecker, Ryan Braun sitting and chatting a little bit in the broadcast booth as there is a game going on in the background. Take a listen.
Corner, and there's one away in the Brewers' fifth inning. I know a lot of people, Ryan Braun, are concerned and are wondering what your plans are. I mean, I don't want you to tell us your plans to the T, but first of all, you look great. Everything's good with the family. I know that because we talk once in a while. But, it's not the same. I'm telling you. It's not the same. We've been around for a long time together, and it's different. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And I know it's got to be tough on you to a certain point, but are you planning on going into another sport or anything?
Well, we'll see how this half inning goes. If this goes well, I know I'd have big shoes to fill here with Lane and Sammy killing it here as your assistants, sidekicks. But if this goes well, maybe I could join you once in a while. No, I mean, I obviously miss everybody here so much. It's so great to get out here, just get a chance to see you. Obviously, we talk on the phone and text all the time, but there's just something to be said for seeing people in person, and obviously miss all the players and coaches and trainers, strength coaches, front office, clubhouse attendants. I mean, I have such a special relationship with all these people, and it's sad this time of year to not be here interacting with everybody every day, and I really genuinely miss everybody.
Ryan, the game has changed so much, and the pitch, check swinging the ball down low. I mean, guys that go from team to team, I mean, players, that's the way it is today. You get traded a lot, whatever. But for a guy who's been with one team his whole career, and finally you get to that point in your life, and the pitch by Northcraft, swing and a miss, struck him out. Talking with Ryan Braun, back-to-back strikeouts. Orlando Arcia coming up now. But when you've spent your whole career with one team, and it's not only the guys here in the ballpark, it's people in Milwaukee at American Family Fields that you've been around your whole career for the most part. People that work in the front office, all of those people. That's all part of your lifetime too.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, Milwaukee's such a special place to my family and I. My wife, Larissa, and I think the world of the city, of the community there, of all the fans, the way that they've supported us. My two older children were born there. My youngest would have been born there last year, if not for the pandemic. It obviously holds such a special place in our hearts. We'll forever be, a second home to us. So, as you alluded to, I feel so fortunate and just incredibly grateful to have had the opportunity to have spent my whole career there. I've thoroughly enjoyed the 15 years we've got to spend there and the relationships we built with all the people. And like you said, man, it's just it's different and it's definitely sad in a lot of ways to not be able to spend as much time with all those people as we've gotten used to over the last few years.
Yeah, and the other thing, Ryan, is you look game ready.
Thanks, Uke. My hype man. I gotta bring you with me more places, man.
It's true. You're a young guy yet, and I know that you can play at this level. I know that. Northcraft deals down low and inside. He missed 3-2 now. I know you could still do it, and you don't have to say anything about anybody in particular. But do you still feel like you could play?
Yeah, man. You know me.
I know you.
I still think I can play.
I know that.
I've been working out, staying in shape. I worked out with Yelly all off season. It was just him and I. We had a trainer come to his house. And safe, socially distanced workouts. But I haven't actually touched a baseball or a bat since the end of last season. So I haven't done any baseball specific stuff. But working out, staying in shape. I guess with retirement, you can always push back that decision, and I'm not at a place where I'm ready to fully retire yet. So I'll continue to stay in shape and see what the future holds.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know what? Having been around as long as I have too, there are certain guys that don't have to do nothing, and during the offseason I'm talking about, and pick up a bat the next year, their first time up, and go up there and rip a baseball from some guy throwing 100 miles an hour. Bouncer hit to third, they'll go to second for a force there to end the inning. Got time to hang around for another?
Yeah, man. As long as you want me, I'll be here.
And get the other shoe.
At third base,
Send you a station break here in a moment.
Ray in right field.
Hobie Milner is the new pitcher and deals down low and away, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. We are trailing San Diego, that being we, me, Braun, Grindle, and Kemp. And the pitch by the lefty. That one drops low and inside. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Ryan Braun, nice enough to sit in with us for an inning or two here and talk about maybe what's down the line and maybe what's not. The pitch, that rides low and away, 3-0. But he looks like he's in shape to go right now. And I know you just can't walk away with doing nothing. I mean, say it's all over. I've had it. 3 balls and a strike now, but it would be, a major happening for the Brewers organization. If this is it for Ryan Braun, he's been such a big part of the city. Now, I'm not talking about baseball. He's been such a big part of Wisconsin career. The friendships that you make. Strike 3 looking at a big breaking ball, and there is one away here in the Padres 6th. So it's not an easy deal, not an easy decision to make, to walk away and say, see you later, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, whatever the future holds, I hope to continue to have a relationship, obviously, with both the Brewers and the city of Milwaukee.
Yeah, absolutely.
As I alluded to earlier, obviously, the city is just so special to my family and I. We've thoroughly enjoyed the time we spent in the community and tried to positively impact as many lives as possible, and that's something we want to continue to do. And then with the Brewers specifically, if I am done as a player, I hope that at some point in the future we figure out a role for me to contribute and be able to help, in whatever way possible.
Let me ask you this. I mean, I went through this on a, little lower level than you are, but don't you get a little antsy today? Just, maybe go down there in your street clothes and take a swing at this guy.
Not really. I think once the real game starts, this is a little early for me. I rarely played in spring this early. I usually was still nursing a lower back soreness or something. That's what Count said today. It's a little early for me, so maybe by next week, because that's typically when I would get in the game. I think once the regular season games start, I'll for sure miss the competition. I'll miss the big moments. I'll miss the rivalry games. There's just no replacing that. Yeah, I mean, you've experienced it, right? There's nothing in life that duplicates the intensity, the excitement, the adrenaline of that atmosphere and environment, and I have no doubt I'll miss that once the real games start.
Bryce Terang on a ground ball hit right at him. Throws out Jorge Mateo. But yeah, you're like I said, you're just part of Milwaukee. Before we continue with Ryan, 10 for identification. This is the Brewers Radio Network presented by American Family Insurance.
So there you go. That is the conversation with Bob Uecker, Ryan Braun. And I'll tell you this, as much as Ueck kept insinuating that he looks in game shape, that he's ready to take a swing, that he should be down on the field, Braun kept saying, I haven't picked up a bat or a ball. I usually don't come back this early. I don't, I'm working out, but I'm not in game shape. I mean, Ryan Braun is his career has come to an end. I know that many of you want to see Ryan Braun at least come to Miller Park and get the accolades. And I'm almost guaranteeing with the relationship that Ryan Braun has with Mark Attanasio, I guarantee you there is going to be a Ryan Braun bobblehead day or a Ryan Braun day of some type in which he will be back. So my assumption is it's going to happen at some point once the stands are full again and he can have his day, but and deservedly so. And I know there's many out there that, don't let go of the steroid issue, and that's your prerogative. I would never down you for that. But he did pick it up move on, and still had a relatively successful career from then on out. But that was the conversation yesterday between Ryan Braun and Bob Uecker. So some good stuff there. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. Stay tuned. We got more next on the Bill Michaels Show.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Hello.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes.
Don't call me anymore.
Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad you are with us. Thanks so much taking a listen to the program, watching us on the live stream for those of you paying attention. And those of you finding us over on Twitter, on Periscope, follow us. Please go to @Bill_Michaels, @Bill_Michaels. On Twitter, Facebook, it's simply The Bill Michaels Show. That's The Bill Michaels Show. You can find me on YouTube and on Twitch, and please subscribe to both. I really appreciate the fact that you do. And you can find both of them at just simply Bill Michaels, Michaels. So word comes out, 6 officials for the NCAA tournament in Indy. They were sent home. One of them has been tested positive for COVID-19. Now, the NCAA determined through contact tracing the other 5 also needed to be removed. The officials are some of the most high profile in the sport as well, including Ted Valentine, John Higgins, Kip Kissinger, and Roger Ayers. The NCAA has replaced officials for March Madness because of the positive COVID-19 test. One official tested positive on March 15th, and 5 other officials the person had interaction with the day before, they were identified as exposure risks due to prolonged contact. Based on the tournament protocols and contact tracing with local public health authorities, these officials may not participate in the tournament. The infected official must be placed in isolation, and the other officials must be placed in quarantine. 4 replacement officials have been previously approved and meet the pre-tournament testing protocols. 2 of those officials will not be replaced. The officials had been instructed to arrive in Indianapolis, where the 68 team tournament kicks off on Friday, but Sunday night, the officials were supposed to check into their hotels and remain there. When they arrived, the rooms were not ready, and there wasn't any food available. So they were granted permission to leave the hotel and go get food. Some of the officials in the group, though, went out, and when they took the COVID test the next day, one of the officials tested positive. The officials in the NCAA has protocols in place for players, coaches, team personnel, and officials for both tournaments, men's and women's. And some of the protocols, including asking people to remain in their hotel rooms, including for meals, unless they are in transit to or from an arena or playing at an arena. Indianapolis and San Antonio and nearby areas, sites of the women's tournaments, were selected by the NCAA in an effort to keep the footprint extremely small. Then the news comes one day after the NCAA revealed the men's bracket, and 3 days after Virginia and Kansas had to pull out of their conference tournaments because of COVID issues. So there you go. I found it interesting. I'm not going to tell you where, okay? But I want to because they bring up the contact tracing. So I find it interesting when they do these contact tracing. If you are in a sport, if you're an official, if you're a player, if you're a coach, if you're a team assistant, and they do contact tracing, you agree to give the people within your life the ability to find out what it is the contact tracers are calling for. Because HIPAA laws, you can't call up and go, hey, by the way, this person has COVID. We want to see if you were in contact with them. They can't do that. So contact tracing becomes very difficult because it's there's a lot of terms we throw around right now as if we know what the hell we're talking about. But I was recently in meetings and talking about certain sports, and we were talking about, where they go and what they do and this and that, and quote, contact tracing. And I said, well, they just find out. And they said, no, they don't. I said, what do you mean? They said, they can't. Your hands are tied because of the HIPAA laws. You can't just go around telling people, we want to know if you were in contact with this person because they have COVID. You can't do that. They can ask, but they can't tell why. And sometimes they can't even use the name of the person if it's not been given. So it makes things kind of difficult to actually find out where you contracted COVID. It's very difficult to find out where it was contracted. Now, the people that you've come in contact with, those people, you can kind of notify that you have it, but to find out where you got it is very difficult because of the HIPAA laws. And I didn't realize this. I thought it was easy. I thought you just went out and said, hey, who'd you talk to? And then you talk to all these people and they don't have it, but this person does. And then you can find out kind of where they got it. And then you kind of go by, but it's not that simple. It's not that, because you can't just go around spewing people's health information. So it makes the contact tracing very difficult. Through contact tracing of who you've been in contact with, once you've had it, they can ask your immediate surroundings, and other people like the officials have signed contracts saying they would do the exact same thing. So they're negating the NCAA from liability from disclosing, COVID issues. But I was finding it extremely interesting because we just think that they can go out and find anybody, anywhere, any place, anytime. And that's just not true. That's just not true. Can't give a name. Can't give the condition. Can't give what you have. They just have to know if you were at this particular place at this particular time. And that's it. So it's not easy, which I find it interesting because everybody wants to have all the legality of lawyers and a bevy of lawyers. So nobody has any responsibility for anything, any place, any time. But yet you can't find out the details to begin with. So it's a weird scenario because nobody wants to be responsible for anybody that gets sick, but yet you can't give out any information or gather the information to tell where the person got sick. So I just, as you kind of maneuver through this, I learn more and more every day, and I scratch my head more and more every day how we do what we do. You know what I mean? Which goes back to, and my original thought for this is, when you start to talk about fans in the stands and what you can and can't allow and such, it's so tough. It's so tough to figure out what you can and can't do because nobody has a rock solid answer. So anyway, there you have it. Yeah, Kinger says, don't worry, Bo Borowski is ready to go and referee. Oh, that's painful, isn't it? That's painful. That's painful. Jim says, I'm going to miss Ryan Braun except for the one PED fiasco. He was a real stand-up guy. No. But Ryan Braun was always very cognizant of his image, sometimes to a fault. So my personal experience with Ryan, I've never had an issue. Even after the whole PED fiasco, I never had an issue. He treated my son unbelievably well, unknowingly, but my son was a server at a restaurant that he frequented, and my son kind of became his server, and treated him unbelievably well, trusted him, and so on that sense, really good guy. But there were times when you needed him to speak up and stand up and face certain things, and it didn't work out that way. So, but I will say, during hard times for the team, not just for him, but for the team, he was a stand-up guy in that sense. He didn't mind talking and just saying, hey, we're going through a tough stretch. We're not hitting the ball. We're not fielding well. We're not pitching well, whatever it happened to be. He was the guy that when he spoke, the clubhouse listened. So for as much as you can say about him regarding the PEDs outside looking in, the guys in that locker room and in that clubhouse, I should say, really had a respect for him. So, and that says something, because he cast a pall over the organization for a while and still was able to reclaim that stature within a clubhouse. And that says something about some people, where a lot of times once you commit the heinous act, so to speak, people that even are around you will look at you and say, I can't associate myself with this anymore. But he was still able to kind of wrap his arms around the clubhouse and regain that stature there. So give him credit for that. Let's do this. We'll step away, take a quick break. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
How are we looking? Bill Michaels Show on the air on this Tuesday, the 16th, the eve of one St. Patty's Day. We are glad to have you. Hey, if you want to chime in, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You can follow us over on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch. So many different ways to be a part of the program. Just look up Bill Michaels, Michaels. Minnesota did indeed fire their coach, Richard Pitino, after 8 seasons there. That news coming out today. You've got the Washington Redskins and Ryan Fitzpatrick agreeing to a 1-year contract, and that is happening. So they have a quarterback now, and Fitzpatrick is off the market. Not that he was a hot commodity. There's a lot of talk in Chicago about now. If it's not going to be Marcus Mariota, it is going to be Andy Dalton. Whether or not Andy Dalton stays in Dallas and backs up Dak Prescott, or Andy Dalton moves on, most likely moving on. But it looks as if, at least as of right now, that the Bears have an interest in Andy Dalton, and the Saints and Jameis Winston agreed to another 1-year deal. So Jameis Winston is going to be, looks to be, at least for right now, the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. So more moves being done in free agency. We all know the move we talked about earlier. The tight end Hunter Henry agrees to a 3-year, $37.5 million deal with the Patriots. Patriots are just stacking up on tight ends right now. So another quality tight end that is going to be in the arsenal for Cam Newton, who they came to an agreement with earlier. So you've got Gronkowski going back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Shaquille Barrett of Tampa Bay, the offensive lineman, Joe Tunney going from New England to Kansas City, Leonard Floyd, the linebacker, staying with the Rams, the linebacker Bud Dupree, now with Tennessee, leaving Pittsburgh. So you got some shifting going on out there right now. But right now, still pretty much, other than Aaron Jones coming back to the Packers, everything remains quiet in Green Bay right now. So not a whole lot of going on. And New England, Eric says New England wants to win, apparently. Damn straight. Damn straight. And Andy Dalton wants to start in Chicago rather than be a backup in Dallas. So we'll wait and see if they do indeed go in that direction. But at least as of right now, it appears that the Bears have an interest in him. Obviously, I mean, they got to upgrade their quarterback position anyway. But still, I mean, Andy Dalton he had a couple of good seasons in Cincinnati. He was good. He wasn't great. He was, at times, I think, a little above average, probably more average than anything. I mean, if you wanted to use the stat line of Andy Dalton for the most part, he would be considered your average quarterback. You know, there's if you had a quarterback that's better than him, then he was above average. And if you had a quarterback worse than Andy Dalton and his numbers, he was a below average quarterback. I mean, Andy Dalton was kind of that line. You know what I mean? So we'll see what he ends up doing. If indeed he does go to Chicago, nothing's been written in stone, but if indeed he ends up in Chicago, then obviously, and I'll say this, I think he's better than Mitch Trubisky. I think that he is probably better than Nick Foles. He would, I assume, make that team better. Defensively speaking, they're still pretty good. Offensively speaking, keeping Robinson there, if they upgrade the offensive line, they could be a markedly better team. I don't think they're anywhere near Packer level quality, but they could be better. And what you have to worry about then is, who do they steal wins from? If they steal wins in the division, do they steal them? Do they steal one from the Packers? Do they steal one from the Vikings? 2 from the Lions? I mean, what do they do in Chicago as far as stealing wins within the division? So that's if they get better and they get themselves a quarterback. And who knows if actually Andy Dalton is there. Eric says, we are missing out on a few who could really help us. Come one guy, redo Aaron Rodgers' contract, and let's sign a couple of solid vets who can help immediately instead of drafting a couple of starters and waiting for them to develop. Eric, I believe that the Packers will get a veteran at corner and for the most part, fill the rest in via the draft. That's just my thought. Chris says, not picking you up on 105.1 in Eau Claire today. You should. I'll check, but you should. We'll see. We'll look into it. We'll put somebody on it. We don't have people yet, but we'll put somebody on it. Mac James says, in the tournament, who do you got between Texas Tech and Arkansas? That's assuming Texas Tech gets the win over Utah State, correct? That's one of the unlikely upsets in the tournament, but something between a 6 seed and 11 seed that could possibly happen. I do have Arkansas beating Colgate. I do have Texas Tech winning, by the way, but I have Arkansas advancing to face Ohio State then. Ohio State getting the victory there. Just an FYI, coming out of that bottom half of that South regional. Hopefully that answers your question. This is from Marcy. Marcy says her Final Four are Baylor, West Virginia, Michigan, and Iowa. Baylor, West Virginia, Michigan, and Iowa. You know what? I just cannot take West. And much as I do see them knock off Houston, because I think Rutgers actually upsets a little bit, if you want to call it that. I think Rutgers upsets Clemson. Rutgers advances. Houston beats Cleveland State out of the Horizon League. Houston then advances. I got West Virginia then beating Morehead State and Syracuse, an upset over San Diego State. So Syracuse and West Virginia meet, and I've got West Virginia winning that one, and then West Virginia losing to Houston. I got to know in years working in Cincinnati with Bob Huggins. I got to know the man. And he had the Final Four run years and years and years ago with Ruben Patterson and the likes. But every time it came to the tournament, when you really thought, I mean, his big opportunity was when Kenyon Martin was playing for Cincinnati, and they were going to dominate. They were a Final Four team. They may have won it all. And then Kenyon Martin broke his leg. And that was it. That just took the wind out of their sails. And he has had good teams. He can recruit, he can coach, but it just, when it comes to the tournament, they always, no matter how talented they are in the regular season, no matter what they're ranking, they always crap the bed. They always have this loss that you're like, really? And so I cannot take them. I mean, they may get beat by Syracuse. If Syracuse beats San Diego State, Syracuse may end up beating them, or San Diego State could beat them. But it just, I can't go far. I can't go past the Sweet 16 with West Virginia. I just can't. Jason says 105.1 working good for me here in Cadott. So there you go. We have people on that, I guess. Somebody heard something somewhere at some point in time. Good stuff. But that's my reason I can't pick West Virginia. I can't pick Bob. As much as I would love to see Bob Huggins get to a Final Four again. Boy, I'll tell you the other thing too. When you talk about, have you ever looked at a picture of Bob Huggins from years gone by? He looked like a mafioso leader, man. He was trim. He had the hair slicked back. He was wearing the double-breasted suits. I mean, that cat had it going on. And over the years, wow. I mean, I know he had the heart issue, and he probably doesn't work out or do the things he used to, but he should. Holy moly. He has put on some tonnage. He just has. Now, I know age will put some tonnage on you anyway, but whew, holy cats. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Rich says, who you got between Georgetown and Colorado? I said Georgetown. Going Georgetown. They win the Big East. They've been peaking at the right time. There's a lot of momentum going into the tournament for Georgetown. That's the 12-5 matchup that I got. That's the upset in the 12-5 I have. Even though the Big East wasn't nearly as strong this year, I got the 12-5 winning in that one. I got them knocking off Colorado. As a matter of fact, I have them facing Florida State. Florida State gets the win, and then Florida State beats Georgetown to end their mini run, if you will. But that's my 12-5 upset. You always have one, right? You always have one upset like that in the tournament in the 12-5. So, I mean, there was a year not that long ago, I think, that all 12-5 matchups, all the 12s won. So I'm taking Georgetown. That's, to me, the most likely. UC Santa Barbara, I don't think they knock off Creighton in the 12-5 matchup. I don't think Winthrop beats Villanova. I don't think that happens. And the other 12-5 matchup is Oregon State and Tennessee. That could possibly happen, but I got Tennessee advancing there. My only 12-5 is Georgetown. Is Georgetown getting the win? Which number one seed has the easiest or the hardest bracket? I think that Illinois has the easiest bracket coming out of the Midwest. I think Illinois is going to face Loyola Chicago, which will make it for an interesting matchup within the state. I'm not a fan of Tennessee. Oklahoma State, they could give Illinois trouble, but I don't think they give them that much trouble. And then, like I said, West Virginia and Houston. Houston being the 2 seed. Houston faces Illinois. I think Illinois can take Houston. And then Illinois advances to face what I said was Ohio State or Baylor, but I'm taking Ohio State out of the South to face in the Midwest Illinois in the Final Four. So that's my choice right there. There you go. A little bit of a tournament breakdown. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. We are glad you are here. As always, thanks so much. You can subscribe to us on YouTube and on Twitch. Just simply find Bill Michaels. And again, thanks so much for paying attention and for going through the process of finding us and liking us or subscribing to us and all that kind of stuff. So really, really appreciate it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Joseph says, I got Kansas beating Eastern Washington. I don't think they're going to get past USC, but I picked them anyway. What did you pick? I picked Kansas facing Iowa. So I got Kansas. I got USC advancing as well. And then I've got Kansas facing Iowa after Kansas beats USC and then Iowa beating Kansas. I want to see Kansas go down. I would love to see Eastern Washington beat Kansas myself. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love to see Eastern Washington knock off Kansas, and then Kansas lose to USC. But I don't think that's going to happen. But I do feel that they fall to Iowa. Not a big Bill Self fan. So many problems with that program. It just, when you start to hear about all the things that are dirty, if it wasn't a winning program, he'd be gone, man. He'd be out. And when you're a winning coach, nobody cares. I mean, it took, 3 or 4 scandals to get rid of Rick Pitino out of Louisville? I mean, the man, look, his personal life's his personal life, but the man was on a table, dinner for 2 at the Italian restaurant of his choice with his assistant coach's wife. Caught on cam. The linguine was being served. And he still survived that. It wasn't until somebody said, hey, you know what? There's a lot of hookers over there, that they finally said, okay, enough. Where are they? I have no idea. I had no idea. Well, what are all these coupons for hookers on your desk for, Rick? I have no idea. I didn't even know we had them. I thought it was fishing tackle. I had no idea. Hookers. I always thought we were going to go fishing down at Cumberland later on this year. So I was buying hookers. They're bait. So he had no idea. I have to admit, when I worked in Cincinnati years and years ago, I was on WLW, and Rick Pitino, that was the transition, changing over to Tubby Smith, but he had brought the NCAA championship trophy into the studios and stopped by. It was just the nicest guy, a really likable guy. So when all this happened, you kind of cringe. You're like, no. But I've just learned in this business, never believe everything, and then even people that you believe could be good people have their moments. There you go. So, but it was disappointing. I liked Rick, but when, then it was his brother-in-law, that scandal, and then the Rick Pitino table for 2 scandal, and then hookers and the thing about it was hookers were in the building that was dedicated to what was his father who had passed, or his brother who had passed, a family member who had passed away. The building was dedicated to them because he was such an icon down there on campus. Pitino was, and that's where the players were staying, and thus that was where all the illegality was going on. Yes. They had, and all kinds of ladies of the evening making visits to players. They were not massage therapists, by the way, working out the kinks of the muscles. So there you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Mark Anthony writes, I hope LSU beats the Wolverines. I hate Michigan. As much as I don't like Michigan, and being from Ohio, you don't like Michigan. As much as I don't like Michigan, I think they're, 1, really good, and 2, I don't want to see them get beat because I have them in the Final Four. Once the Ducats are down, once the Cache is down, I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them lose. So, crossing my fingers that your wish does not come true. Normally, I would be right there with you. I would crave anything negative towards the Big Blue, but in this particular case, when money's involved, And again, this is my bracket unless we find out later tonight that you've got all kinds of positive COVID tests that are knocking teams out of the NCAA tournament, and then I'll have to go back and kind of readjust. Still waiting to hear finality on Virginia. Virginia in the tournament against Ohio. And if Virginia, I want to make sure that there aren't any additional tests that can become positive for Tony Bennett's crew. I have them in the tournament against Ohio, beating Ohio. I have Creighton advancing, though, as a 5 seed over Virginia as the 4 seed. So I have Creighton facing Gonzaga in the round of the Sweet 16, and then Gonzaga advancing to the Elite 8. But nevertheless, I'm Virginia any additional tests submitting the bracket, or anybody else for that matter, but before submitting the tomorrow at 10 a.m. is when my brackets have to be into my guys. So there you go. We're at the halfway point of the program. Midway, if you want to call it. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Bucks have won 4 straight games. That's after a 133-122 win over Washington last night. Giannis Antetokounmpo also became the first player in franchise history to post a triple-double in 3 straight games. 2-time MVP joked afterwards that despite a matchup with Philly looming tomorrow, he was going to enjoy his day off today by eating pizza, chicken wings, and a smoothie before focusing in on the Sixers.
You know, they have a great, unbelievable season. I think it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one in Philly. They play really well at home. And we just got to be ready. We got to be ready. We got to execute our game plan, play great defense. Hopefully we can make some shots. No matter the outcome, just leave Philly better. Just try to end the road trip in a good note. Not winning, playing good basketball. Remember that.
Bucks are 25-14, 2 games back of Philly in the standings in the Eastern Conference. Turning to the Badgers, they practiced for the first time yesterday down in Indy as they prepare for Friday's first-round game against North Carolina. Wisconsin has won at least 1 game in 15 of their last 21 appearances in the NCAA tournament, though the Tar Heels are favored in the game. Tip is set for 6:10.
Hey, honey, how was your day? Well, I brought home a delicious dinner and possibly $10K. That's $10,000. That's a good day. It's Quick Trip's take-home meal sweepstakes. Try our chicken, bacon, mac and cheese, spicy chicken penny, spaghetti, and more. Buy with your rewards card, and you could win $10,000. No purchase necessary. See stores for details. Dinner, fresh from our kitchen to heat and eat in yours. But let's be honest, they had me at $10K. The take-home meal sweepstakes from Quick Trip. We got dinner covered.
Well, Travis Shaw is getting signed to the Brewers 40-man roster. The infielder brought to camp on a minor league deal with an opt-out on March 15th. Manager Craig Counsell told him yesterday he had made the team. And the Packers' longtime center has found a new home. Corey Linsley reportedly agreed to a 5-year, $62 million deal with the Chargers. And Wisconsin hockey team going to face Minnesota in the championship game of the Big Ten tournament tonight. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
Welcome back to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Thanks to all of you for listening and paying attention to us on our live stream feed as the Bud Light live stream up and running. If you want to find us over there on Twitch or on YouTube. And it's been pretty cool. I'm getting a lot of good feedback. So thanks. And if there's anything else you guys want to check out, let me know. But we've got 4 cameras now that operate during the program. One is the Tiki Bar cam that shows the outside. It's outside of the house. I got the dog cam, and then we've got 2 cameras here in studio that kind of, for whatever reason, pay attention to me more often than not. But whether it's the cameras, on the dogs or outside or whatever it may be, always appreciate feedback. So thanks to everybody for giving me your feedback. I enjoy it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Back to our discussion of Rick Pitino, our buddy Dwayne from Dwayne's Cover It All up in Wausau. Tremendous place. He says, hey, Rick Pitino, hook him if you got him. Good one. Thank you very much. There you go. Yeah, Pitino, like I said, I like the guy. I just, just when all of that was going on down at Louisville, between that and the Papa John's guy, Louisville had a real run of creepality. Remember the Papa John's guy? When Louisville won the championship and Pitino's being celebrated and the Papa John's guy is basically doing stuff to co-eds with his pizzas. It was just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then he was quickly removed. Remember, you don't see the Papa John's guy anymore. I mean, now I think Papa John's, the face of Papa John's is more Peyton Manning because he's got about 8,000 of those franchises. But yeah, Papa John's guy is gone. They don't have him anymore. He became a creeper. He was too. He was the guy that got so full of himself. So, I mean, like drunk with money and pepperoni power. And they said what he did away from the cameras was even worse. I could see it. He was down at Super Bowl for years and years. I remember him I think it was San Francisco, maybe. We were in San Francisco. It was either San Francisco or Phoenix. And they would have literally a display of Papa John's inside Radio Row. And that's back when the NFL began opening up Radio Row as part of the NFL experience. So as a fan, you could come in and go through the NFL experience and see all the different uniforms, all the different interactive things, all the kids stuff. But part of that package was you got to walk up to Radio Row. We were always in a different segment of the convention center. But you got to walk through Radio Row and you could see all the stars, all the people that we get a chance to talk to. You could see them just walking around. So on one side of the room would be, Ronnie Lott. The other side would be Joe Montana. Then you'd see Roger Staubach, and then you'd see Kevin Costner, or Adam Sandler, or some actress. It was a who's who. So that was part of the NFL opened that up. Anyway, because they opened that up, Papa John's had a display in Radio Row. So when you walked in, and now I think it's Old Spice and Sleep Number are the two, because Dak Prescott was in Miami a couple of years ago, and it was Old Spice. The Old Spice guy was there too. But it used to be Papa John's. And then they had Joe Montana making pizzas, Peyton Manning making pizzas, Drew Brees was making pizzas. But they had all these quarterbacks making pizza with the Papa John's guy. And then the video came out, and suddenly he was nowhere to be found. They booted him. But the Papa John's guy was showing his pepperoni around out there. There you go. Yeah. Just an FYI. Yeah, it was embarrassing. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. I got one from James. James says, I got Arkansas advancing and beating Ohio State and then beating Baylor. Arkansas is a good team. Arkansas doesn't play the same style of basketball. Now, Ohio State's biggest problem is closing out games. If it's a close game, I would give the nod to Arkansas. But I think Ohio State just gets up and down the floor better. They run the floor better than Arkansas does. And when it comes to slowing the game down, I think Ohio State's more astute. So it's just my opinion. As much as I like Ohio State, Florida's a hell of a team too. I think Florida plays more of the same game Ohio State does than Arkansas does, in my opinion. James, listening to us in Evanston, Illinois, says, isn't it going to be great when you see Illinois and Loyola Chicago? A lot of hometown pride. I think it's cool. I think it's a tremendous story. It would be the same as if you saw either, say, Wisconsin and Marquette, or if you want to go a step further, say the smaller school, say go back to the Sweet 16 run from UW Milwaukee. It would be great to see, Wisconsin take on UW Milwaukee. And that was at the height of UW Milwaukee's run. But give Loyola Chicago a lot of credit. I mean, they've been there now, a couple of times. So they've got a track record of success now. Chris LaPlante says, I think the problem with signing really good players is Rodgers' contract, no money left. Look what Brady does, takes a pay cut and then keeps the players around him. I still think, to your point, I still think we're going to eventually see the white paper smoke come out of Lambeau Field. What I'm waiting to see is how much they restructure. Not if, but how much they restructure it for. And that's when we had Pete Doherty on yesterday, and he's kind of thinking the same thing, is that I think there's going to be a restructure. I just don't think it's just a blatant, we're going to cut it, extend it out, here you go, we're going to get all this money. I don't think that's what they're looking to do. I think they're looking more for how much do we have to do so we're not offsetting a ton of money, if you know what I mean. I still think, and I said this before, this to me signifies that they are still moving ahead. They are still moving ahead with the Jordan Love plan, and it makes me sick. Jordan Love better be damn good. Because if you're waiting just to do just enough with Aaron Rodgers so you don't have to really go too far down that road, you don't want to kick the can. And, I'm sitting here in the background, I've got the NFL Network on, and they say which team has had the most impactful free agency so far, and they're talking a lot about the Patriots, a lot about the Buccaneers, some about the Chargers adding Corey Linsley, and some of the other moves that have been made. And obviously they're looking at the Cardinals too. And then the teams that have made disappointing moves, and the Packers are right there. Now, they give credit to the Packers for retaining and getting him in under that contract for Aaron Jones, but for basically so far not doing much. And again, the free agency really gets going tomorrow, because right now you're in that tampering period where you can go for it. But I still think they're going to restructure that deal. I still think they're going to be able to add some money under the cap. I still think that $4 to $7 million, maybe $8 million for free agent or for the rookies is about what you're looking for. And then anything over that, I still think they're going to go after a veteran corner. At least they better. I still think they're going to go after a veteran corner, and that'll be that may be it. Now they may add one more piece, such as depth at linebacker or depth on the defensive front. But I still think a veteran corner is in the mix. So I'm not down on the Packers yet, but it's disappointing that they didn't just redo the deal. Just redo his deal. Just give Aaron Rodgers a new deal. Just say, here you go. This is it. This is what we're going to do. And if we need to restructure it so we can go ahead and add some cap space, that's great. But to me, coming off of an MVP season and still not going, for it as of yet, a little bit disappointing. I'm a little bit disappointed. We'll see. We'll see what happens down the stretch here. Eric says, welcome to the love era sooner rather than you think. Now, on another note, the same folks hated on Rodgers when he took over for Favre as they are now with Love taking over for Rodgers. Granted, Rodgers was much more thought of when Love was drafted, and remember, the teams have won Super Bowls with decent quarterbacks. Great O-line, running game, and great defense win Super Bowls. Last year's was a perfect example. Brady was good, not great, but Tampa Bay's defense was tremendous. I agree with you, but you cannot compare in any way, shape, or form Jordan Love to Aaron Rodgers. You can't do it. Aaron Rodgers was considered to be the first pick overall, and then he ended up falling after Alex Smith got chosen. I mean, I don't need to tell you all of this all over again. Jordan Love, most scouts will tell you he was a very low first round or second round at best choice. Very raw. And if he's not getting it right now, then he's not ready to go out and start playing. And Aaron Rodgers had some opportunities to play. Remember, he filled in for Brett Favre in the Patriots game and played the entire second half of that game with a broken foot. Remember in that game against Dallas when he came in for an injured Brett Favre, had there been a little more time left on the clock, he'd have won that game. He outplayed Favre easily in that game. Now, we haven't seen Jordan Love. So that's a little bit of the downside because we don't know specifically what he has. We're about to find out, but he better have a lot more than what we've heard coming out of 1265 so far. Because I'm just going to tell you, he's not there. Depending on what report you listen to, none of them have come out and praised him. They've all said the same thing. He's very green, raw talent, but he doesn't know it. He still can't go through his reads. He's still learning. He's still, Aaron Rodgers, you looked at him and went, holy crap, this guy's good. That guy, and I said it at the time, when they used to do these little symposiums, if you will, where the new players would come in and then the media got a chance to sit down and have like lunch with these guys. Because Aaron was the backup quarterback. Remember that year they had chosen other players in the draft, and Aaron Rodgers was really kind of afterthought in the sense that he was not going to play. He was behind Brett Favre. So we were looking at guys like Nick Collins, Terrence Murphy, the wide receiver. He was going to come in and add additional depth for Brett Favre. They needed a defensive back. Marvell Underwood was the guy. Brady Papinga was the guy. Junius Costin was going to come in and add depth on that offensive line. Mike Montgomery was going to be another ferocious guy up front. Craig Bragg, remember him? Kurt Campbell, Will Whitaker. These guys were all names. Aaron Rodgers, while he had a big name, he was a guy that was going to back up Favre, so who cared? So I'm sitting at this I thought this was an interesting story. So I sat down with Brett Favre and with Aaron Rodgers, and I'm talking to him, and he looks like he's 12 years old. I'm like, wow, this guy's playing in the NFL. And I'm listening, but my whole thought process was, if this guy is half as smart as he seems, he's unbelievable. And if his talent is anywhere near his head, holy crap, this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. And I remember when the whole should they or shouldn't they not bring back Brett Favre thing went down, and it was, bringfavreback.com or whatever the hell it was, and people are ripping Aaron Rodgers. And I had said I was doing a show, I'll never forget, I was doing a show sitting at the studios out at State Fair Park. And I said at the time, give this guy a chance, because we had seen it. The media had seen it. You had heard the discussions and the rumors in the locker room about how impressed everybody was with Aaron Rodgers. And some were looking at you going, yeah, this guy's really good. This guy's really, really good. So I remember I was talking to Nick Barnett, and I was asking him and saying, hey, look, this is a guy that, and Aaron Rodgers that's, he's going against the ones defensively. He's running the scout team, and Nick's like, this guy's killing us. This guy's killing us. He said he's as good or better than Favre. And damned if he wasn't right. Uh, 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
You're grateful for all the ways technology can connect us. Unfortunately, there are online scammers who want to take advantage. Malicious viruses, phishing scams, and identity theft are more prevalent than ever. That's why Rural Mutual includes cybersecurity protection as an option on every policy.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program, The Bill Michaels Show. Continuing on, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Mike says, who do you think is the best college basketball coach ever? Well, you know what? You got to give Coach K his props. John Wooden gets his props. God, that's a great question. Those two guys are the first two to come to mind. For all the games that Coach K has won, John Wooden haven't sustained success. But then again, I mean, John Wooden had teams with Bill Walton and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and then you take Coach K and the recruiting that he's done, both in the pre-one-and-done era and then since then. And as much as people don't like Duke, I mean, you got to give Duke their props, right? You know, Tom Izzo has been really, really solid. Hasn't won as many championships, but I mean, you can kind of compare. I mean, you know, Bobby Knight was solid. Denny Crum, Dean Smith. You know, so I mean, Denny Crum was so good at Louisville. Dean Smith was so iconic at North Carolina for what he brought to the table. Roy Williams continues to be a good coach. He's had many, many years. You hate to say it, but Pitino has done some good work. Pitino obviously has had his own issues. He's won championships at both Kentucky and at Louisville. So, I mean, there's just so many good coaches. And that's really when you start to talk about power conferences, then there's been good coaches. You know, I mean, Matt says, what about Jerry Tarkanian? Jerry Tarkanian, yeah, you can say he was a tremendous coach in the day with the Runnin' Rebels, but Jerry Tarkanian even, you know, he had issues. I mean, when you find out that these guys were not only good coaches, but then they had dirty programs, can you really then, it's kind of like finding a baseball player that was taking PEDs. How much do you give their numbers, you know? how much do you give credit to the numbers because of the way they were building the program? You still they were bringing in good talent. You still got to coach the good talent. But should that talent have even been there to begin with? Should that talent have even been eligible? You know? So, I mean, there's God, you almost have to go to like, yeah, you're right. You almost have to go to like top 5. According to Bleacher Report, now I haven't seen it. I'll have to look. Let me find it here real quick. But according to Bleacher Report, is it Robert Tonyan? Packers are bringing back Robert Tonyan, which you know what? There's no shock there. Yeah, Packers have extended the second round tender to Robert Tonyan to come back with the team. So Packers are going to be making some moves to get under the cap, but they are tendering Robert Tonyan. So Robert Tonyan most likely coming back with the Green Bay Packers. The Packers have officially tendered the restricted free agent Robert Tonyan, the second round level per reports. And no GM out there is going to pay a second round level. So the Packers kind of know it going in. So Robert Tonyan coming back, which we all pretty much expected. I don't think anybody didn't expect Robert Tonyan to be back with the team. That's good news. So like I said, keeping the band together. Solid move by the Green Bay Packers. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. The Packers are keeping Robert Tonyan. Do you like the moves the Packers are making so far? Let me open the phone lines up. Okay. I think it's we have not really talked a lot of Packers today. We've talked a lot of other things today, but I want to ask you this. Do you feel the Packers are making the right moves right now? And what else do you think they need to do before you get to the draft? I like bringing Tonyan back. I love bringing Aaron Jones back. I like the fact that they restructured Billy Wagner. I look forward to them restructuring a few more deals with this team right now. I'm excited to see what they're going to do in continually in free agency. But I'm excited. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Do you like what the Packers are doing and the way they're going about it right now? I want to get your thoughts. I know there's some people out there that are unhappy. Like I said, I'm not unhappy. I'm a little disappointed. I just wanted them to say, okay, look, we're restructuring this. We've got Devontae Adams. We're going to do this, and to kind of go from there. I was kind of hoping for all of this to be done by now. You know, just extend, get it done. Extend Devontae Adams. Get far enough under the cap. You're good to go. You know, all that kind of stuff. Just get it done. Just get it done. I want to see him just get it over with. But I like what the Packers are doing right now. Still, if you kind of figure it, they're a little bit over the cap. They still got some more things to do, but I want to see them restructure Aaron Rodgers' deal. Obviously, with bringing Preston Smith back, working that deal out. Billy Turner. They've got Kenny Clark already signed. I still think I still think Dean Lowry is going to be a June 1st cut. And that'll put him a couple $1 million over the cap or under the cap. So I think they're going to extend Jair Alexander. I think they're going to extend Devontae Adams. They've already done a deal with Adrian Amos. And I think that gets Corey Linsley's gone. Christian Kirksey. So I'm liking where they're at right now. Kyle says, Goody, I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed. I would kind of go there. I would think the same. I'm just a little disappointed. I wanted to get this stuff done. I wanted Aaron Rodgers to be redone. I wanted Za'Darius. I wanted to get Devontae extended, Jair extended. I wanted to see them sitting here with a bunch of money, getting ready for additional free agents to come in. You get the sense that they're doing just enough, rather than diving into that pond head first. And I think that's where some of yours and mine frustration comes in. But I like the lines. 877-8, they're wide open. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Do you like the way the Packers are going about this right now? Or do you have an indicator of something else? 877-867-1670. Hit us up over on all the different platforms as well. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
High fives, Wisconsin.
Gina Dello from Pella, what's the celebration?
Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin was just named NARI's Distributor of the Year.
That's a big deal.
You're not kidding, but there's more. The International Builder Show just named Pella's new Easy Slide Operator Best Window and Door Product of the Year.
Another Pella innovation that eliminates the repetitive cranking motion on casement and awning windows with an easy slide.
A real blessing for those with hand and wrist issues.
Why crank your windows when you can easy slide, right?
But there's still more.
Oh, you mean based on the 2019 Consumer Survey on leading national brands that Pella is rated #1 for highest value, highest quality.
Yes, but there's still more. Now get 5 years, no interest, plus 5 months, no first payment.
Pella now, pay later. High fives all around.
But only through March 31st. Set your free consultation today at PellaWI.com/radio or 855-PELLA-WI.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Joe on the air. We are glad to have you. Thanks as always, and thanks to those of you watching us on the Bud Light live stream as well. We certainly appreciate it. For those that are listening on the on all the affiliates, I don't know if all the affiliates are having problems or not. I don't know if there's something with the stream or what it is. If you're listening on a stream versus over the air, it could be different. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm hanging out here in the estate, and this is where we do the show from. It's run from our Madison affiliate, our flagship station, The Zone out in Madison, and it kind of goes out from there. So I'd have to, if you're having issues in your particular area, then let them know. And thank you for letting me know. I will bring it up. I will talk to some people later on today. We got people for that run thing. So I don't know. I couldn't honestly tell you. Saying hi to Chris, listening to us in Shawano, by the way. And I'm being told that everything seems to be running fine back in Madison. Our buddy Ebo chiming in. But if you're listening to us on streams, on web streams, that's where it could be tricky, I guess. Sometimes I don't honestly know. But over the air, we're doing pretty good. Kathy listening to us in Baroque says everything A-OK. You got Epps listening to us in Wausau on our mighty ESPN affiliate, 98.9 and 1230 there. Thank you, Epps. You the man. James in Rice Lake. That's WJMC in Rice Lake. 12:40 a.m. says, listening to you here. Can't wait for you to come up for the celebrity golf outing. And again, are you bringing Larry the Cable Guy? That's not up to me. It's not like Larry hangs out with me. I try to hang out with Larry. So if they're having it, I'm hoping Larry's going to be there. But I don't know. I'm certainly hope so. Certainly hope so. This is from our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. They say, hey, high fives all around. This is why. Okay, and I was talking to Gina Della from Pella not that long ago that said the Wisconsin chapter of NARI, which is the National Association of the Remodeling Industry, has named Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin the Distributor of the Year. The Distributor of the Year. How about that? That's how good they are. But there's a lot more to it than that. The International Builders Show, they named Pella's new Easy Slide Operator, that's their new window, the best window and door product of 2021. I mean, that's kind of a high honor there when you're talking about Pella Windows and Doors. The Easy Slide Operator, yet another patented Pella innovation that eliminates the repetitive cranking motion on casement and awning windows with an easy slide. So, in other words, why crank when you can slide, right? I'll say this, though, okay? I have Pella windows and doors in my home. I have the crank windows. I can do it with one finger. So the Easy Slide Operator is the way to go, especially if you have issues or you just want to upgrade your windows. But I've got the cranks in here, and they work wonderfully. And lock. That's the best part about it is they all lock. But right now, you can look at Pella windows and doors and just say, hey, they're rated #1 for highest value, highest quality, and improving home value as well. So when you put these things in your home, they can add a lot of value to your home. If you're thinking about selling it, you're gonna jack up that price a little bit because of the Pella windows and doors. Right now, though, 5 years, no interest, 5 months, no first payment. That's big time. 5 years, no interest, 5 months, no first payment. All you got to do is get a hold of them, set up that free consultation today at PellaWI.com/radio. That's PellaWI.com/radio. Again, Pella, PellaWI.com/radio. Or call them, 855-PELLA-WI. That's 855-PELLA-WI. Make sure you tell them we sent you. Just say, hey, I heard it on the Bill Michaels Show. They always appreciate that. And don't forget, certain restrictions apply. See PellaWI.com for all the details. All the details. So there you go. Shandon Sullivan being tendered. Tanyan being tendered. All kinds of good stuff. Kinger says, what? Bill and Larry, not buddy-buddy? Bill says, how we looking? Larry says, get her done. You are correct. I'll text him. We'll share some things via text and some stuff on Twitter and such. But as far as getting him there, that's not my area of expertise. Just an FYI. But I tell you what, he is just as genuine and as great and as funny and just love having him there. So, but I think that's Tom Kozer's deal. Tom Kozer, who has the station at up in Rice Lake, WJMC, and that whole conglomerate up there, that whole grouping of stations on the 1240 AM dial. But yeah, there you go. So good stuff. And thanks to our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Eric says, bringing Casey Hayward at corner, a vet, then get a D lineman via free agency, then use high picks for another corner, a defensive end, a nose tackle, and inside linebacker. You're good to go. Sandy, hi, how you doing? How we looking? And Kevin says Hayward struggled with the Packers outside of his rookie season, but it would be worth a filler in the meantime. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Let's go to Mark listening to us in Eau Claire. Mark, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey, doing good, Bill. Hey, question for you. Did the Packers win the Super Bowl last year?
They did not.
They did not. Okay, so therefore we were not good enough to be the Super Bowl champions.
Correct.
So what have we done this year to improve the team?
So far, you've
retained your guys. You have not made yourself better.
No, as a matter of fact, losing Corey Linsley.
If everything being equal.
Well, as a matter of fact, losing Corey Linsley, you would say that you're a little bit weaker on the offensive line now.
Absolutely. So therefore, that's why I'm disappointed, is I haven't seen any place where we've improved at this point.
Not yet. I would agree with that. And that's why I'm hoping they pick up a veteran free agent when it comes to the cornerback position, at least there. But let me ask you this. How far away from the Super Bowl do you think this team was?
I think you're very close.
Yeah, I do too. And I think keeping the band together is a good thing. I just think that they need just a couple of pieces added to the defense, and I think they're going to be solid. So I'm kind of hanging in there. I still got hope that that's what they're going to do. Mark, appreciate the phone call.
I do also.
Oh, go
I
ahead.
do also.
Okay.
So, thank you.
You're the man. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, give us a shout. This is from Kurt. Kurt says, I am listening to you right now at WMAM in Marinette. I love our guys up there are just fantastic. Jim Callow and everybody, they're just great people up there. Said, I think the Packers have done very little to improve this team. I agree with you. They have gotten worse, not better. Corey Linsley is a big loss. We'll see if Elkin Jenkins can fill the bill. What do you think about John Runyon sliding into the offensive line? And they're still hurting at offensive tackle until David Bakhtiari comes back. I think they're a little bit thin. Defensively speaking, you still need help up front. You need another corner. You need depth at corner, and then you're going to need another linebacker as well. This team is still somewhat far away from getting to a Super Bowl. See, if Aaron Jones doesn't fumble, okay, hang with me here. If Aaron Jones doesn't fumble, Tampa Bay doesn't score, the Packers still have a shot at winning that game. If Shannon Sullivan actually pulls down what would have been the third or fourth pick from Tom Brady, rather than letting it hit him in the gut and dropping it, they win that game. If Equanimeous St. Brown comes down with the 2-point conversion, maybe things get a little bit different. I mean, there was some plays that the Packers made. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't force the ball to Devontae Adams and hits a wide open Allen Lazard for the score, it's a different game. If Aaron Rodgers takes off and runs for the end zone, he might not have scored, but it still may be, instead of 4th down and 8, or 4th and goal from the 8 and kicking a field goal, maybe it's 4th and goal from the 1 or the 2, and it makes it much easier to be able to make a play call deep in Tampa Bay territory like that. So I think that a lot of this stuff that happened to the Packers was somewhat self-inflicted, and in addition to that, I think the Packers win the Super Bowl. If the Packers beat Tampa Bay, I think the Packers win the Super Bowl. The same way I think that the Packers back in 2014, when they lost in that NFC Championship game in Seattle, had they won that game, they win the Super Bowl. I just believe it. They were the better team, and they shot themselves in the foot. When you get to that point, everything has to go right. You have to do everything right. And that's including the coaching staff. Eric says, unless Jenkins will be a Pro Bowl type caliber center, letting Linsley walk was a huge mistake. Maybe Elaine Taylor can re-sign, be healthy, and play solid at left guard, allowing Jenkins to play center. But we need a left tackle until Bakhtiari comes back. That I agree with. I think they just need to improve the defense and special teams, and they are good to go for the Super Bowl. See, I think as much as we talk about that offensive line, and you can't just poo-poo it by saying Corey Linsley's loss is no big deal, because I think it is. Now, how big of a deal, we'll wait and see. But I agree with you. If Lane Taylor's healthy, you can bring him back. He's a veteran. He knows how to play. And you'll have additional depth then on the offensive line. You got to figure out that tackle position until David Bakhtiari comes back. But I have a lot of faith there. And for the most part, you got everybody plus Devin Funchess coming back next year to an offense that was already really, really good. So defensively is where you need to get exponentially better. Not a little, but a lot. If you do that, I think you're on your way. And special teams, if you draft well, special teams automatically get better. Kevin says, am I the only one that believes in Chris Barnes and our other inside linebackers? No, Chris Barnes, Kamal Martin, both played well. As a matter of fact, they played so well, they displaced Christian Kirksey. Kirksey wasn't a starter towards the end of the season because both of those guys were playing so well. So, no, I'm right there with you, Kevin, but you still need depth. Behind those two, you don't have depth, and that's what you need. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Hey, some breaking news out of the women's basketball world. The one of the winningest coaches of all time, Gino Auriemma, has tested positive for COVID, and he's going to be out of the next couple of games, not coaching UConn women over the next couple of games because of his positive tests. So Gino Auriemma not going to be roaming the sideline right now for the UConn Huskies women's basketball team because of the positive test. Meanwhile, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've got their two starting corners all locked up for at least the next 3 seasons after the team agreed to terms with former Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks already had a bad defense. Shaquille Griffin, they get him to a 3-year deal, according to sources. Griffin's contract, $44.5 million with $29 million guaranteed. $44 million, $29 million guaranteed. So Shaquille Griffin now part of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So another quality corner off the market. But if that's going to be the indicator as far as some of the if that's going to be the indicator as far as what the price is going to be for some of these corners, whew, can't imagine the Packers going too deep in on some of that stuff. $44.5 million for 3 years, $29 million guaranteed. So guaranteeing $10 million a year, 11, 12 plus almost, 11.5 plus million a year for a corner. I don't know if the Packers want to do that. 877-867-1670. Hey, our buddy Bill, my buddy Bill Kadrich on Marco Island said coming in loud and clear there. God, I wish I was on Marco Island. Basking in the sun, doing the show down there. That wouldn't be a bad way to go. I wouldn't have my guys next to me, Mickey and Elmo. I wouldn't have the dogs here or the tiki cam covered in snow outside, but we would probably have the cameras set up in different areas. I'll tell you that. We would have pool cam, Marco Island above view cam, me getting tan cam. All that good stuff. There you go. By the way, Jesse says the Lindy 2020 draft guide compares Jordan Love to somebody named Brett. It's not Brett Favre, by the way. It's Brett Hundley. If that's the case and he turns out to be Brett Hundley, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't even want to go there. That makes me shiver. I almost peed. That just made me shiver. Oh, that's not a good way to go. Not a good way to, not a good look at all. Hey, our buddy Steve writes in the email inbox that I like what the Packers are doing. As you mentioned, they still have some work to do with Rodgers and Adams, but the way they are keeping most of the core together to me is impressive. For the draft, I see them bolstering the linebacker spot with someone like a Nick Bolton and a cornerback, perhaps Asante Samuel Jr. And as far as the offensive line is concerned, it will be awesome to draft Whitewater's Quinn Mearns. I'm not even pronouncing that correctly. In the 3rd round, from what I've seen and heard, he's the real deal. Would be great to have him on the show as well. The progress so far, the offseason is encouraging. Would I like them to continue and have the ability to add some more depth? Hell yeah. The next few weeks, the draft coming up will be interesting. Are you going to be the R-Lads guy again? Are you going to get him on this year? Yes. Yes, we are. We'll talk again to our buddy Dan Shonka coming up here probably next week. As really things begin to start to fill in through free agency. Teams, the mock drafts will start to adjust. It'll go from need to best available. So as you start to see some things change in that direction. So yeah, we'll try to get Dan Shonka back on. But I love Dan. Dan's always got some great information. But good point. Yes. So coming up in the next hour of the program, we'll continue on. We'll just kind of take the grab bag, if you will, of stuff that you're bringing to the table. A lot of good stuff today that you're bringing to the table, but we'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the NFL world and we'll try to get you caught up on all the different moves that have happened, at least today. The Packers tendering Robert Tonyan for sure. and we'll kind of go from there. We'll get some more updates coming up here in just a little bit, but hang in there, and we'll also as a matter of fact, get you caught up on everybody else. I'm got my buddy Nick said listening on TuneIn Radio on the Zone. Twice the broadcast switched out on TuneIn. He doesn't know if it's the station or TuneIn Radio, but twice it has gone to another program. Thank you very much. So, got all in there. Live show coming up next.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Bucks have won 4 straight games. That's after a 133-122 win over Washington last night. Giannis Antetokounmpo also became the first player in franchise history to post a triple-double in 3 straight games. 2-time MVP joked afterwards that despite a matchup with Philly looming tomorrow, he was going to enjoy his day off today by eating pizza, chicken wings, and a smoothie before focusing in on the Sixers.
They have a great, unbelievable season. I think it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one in Philly. They play really well at home. And we just got to be ready. We got to be ready. We got to execute our game plan, play great defense. Hopefully we can make some shots. No matter that, can just leave Philly better. Just try to end the road trip in a good note. Not winning, playing good basketball. Remember that.
Bucks are 25-14, 2 games back of Philly in the standings in the Eastern Conference. Turning to the Badgers, they practiced for the first time yesterday down in Indy as they prepare for Friday's first-round game against North Carolina. Wisconsin has won at least 1 game in 15 of their last 21 appearances in the NCAA tournament, though the Tar Heels are favored in the game. Tip is set for 6:10.
Hey, honey, how was your day? Well, I brought home a delicious dinner and possibly $10K. That's $10,000. That's a good day. It's Quick Trip's take-home meal sweepstakes. Try our chicken bacon mac and cheese, spicy chicken penny, spaghetti, and more. Buy with your rewards card, and you could win $10,000. No purchase necessary. See stores for details. Dinner, fresh from our kitchen to heat and eat in yours. But let's be honest, they had me at $10K. The take-home meal sweepstakes from Quick Trip. We got dinner covered.
Well, Travis Shaw is getting signed to the Brewers 40-man roster. The infielder brought to camp on a minor league deal with an opt-out on March 15th. Manager Craig Counsell told him yesterday he had made the team, and the Packers' longtime center has found a new home. Corey Linsley reportedly agreed to a 5-year, $62 million deal with the Chargers, and Wisconsin hockey team going to face Minnesota in the championship game of the Big Ten tournament tonight. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
To have you, the final hour of the Bill Michaels Show. So Shandon Sullivan has now been tendered by the Green Bay Packers. So has Robert Tonyan. Both of those guys coming back to the Green Bay Packers. And I thought they'd bring back Shandon Sullivan. I thought he would end up coming back, and sure enough. So it's getting there. They're keeping a lot of these guys together. They're getting there. Now we'll just see if anybody else in free agency is going to come to fruition. I believe more so than anything, it's a cornerback. I think you got to go in the effort of cornerback. However, when you start to look at some of the guys that are now signing, as we just mentioned, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they've got their 2 starting corners all locked up. Shaquille Griffin. They signed him away from Seattle on a 3-year deal, 3 years, $44.5 million, $29 million in guaranteed money. Griffin's going to pair with C.J. Henderson to give the Jaguars 2 young corners around which they can now build that secondary. Griffin, 25, has been a starter for the Seahawks since early 2017, his rookie season. And he was on the right side and had been the team's #1 corner since moving to the left side in his second season after Richard Sherman was let go. Now, Griffin has 6 picks in 4 seasons, including a career-best 3 in 12 games. In 2020, he also had 48 passes defended. He made his lone Pro Bowl as an alternate going back to 2019. So Jaguars continue to build that secondary. 877-867-1670. Do you feel the Packers are on the right path? Nicholas says, do you see Casey Hayward as a good fit for the veteran cornerback? Well, he's certainly somebody that knows he's certainly somebody that knows Green Bay. Now, they haven't changed that system all that much, and he wasn't in LA with the Rams. He was, so it's not like he's a Joe Barry guy. He was in LA with the Chargers, but certainly knows the system in which they're playing. Kevin says, is Tunyon officially back? I heard it was a second-round tender. So if he signs somebody else, the Packers get a second-round draft choice. Yes, it's a second-round tender. But I don't think anybody's going to sign him for a second-round draft choice. Just an FYI. Even though he has been good, I don't think anybody's going to sign him for that. So there you go. 877-867. Sorry about that, Brett. Brett was listening in La Crosse. He was on hold. And Brett, if you call back, we'll try to get you on right away. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Brad writes in the email inbox, he said, I think that the Packers are doing the right thing. Very slow, very steady. Why make it harder on yourself down the road if you don't have to? Only restructure Aaron Rodgers' deal for what you need rather than everything you want in the here and the now. That's how the Packers have remained sustainable over the years. I do believe they can still go all in by restructuring or extending Devontae Adams' deal, Jair Alexander's deal, and move on from there. There's going to be some cuts made as well. I still have a lot of faith in Gutekunst in this front office. They understand the urgency. I hope they do. And I have said before, and I said this last hour, I agree with you, Brett. It's slow and steady. But at some point, you not only want slow and steady, you want slow and steady, smart, and then go in. Slow and steady and smart, and then dive into that pool. Anthony Mack writes, I think Gutekunst is afraid to go all in because they're afraid if they don't win the Super Bowl and they mortgage the future for Jordan Love, that they are going to then be stuck with him. So not only will they not win with Aaron Rodgers, but they won't win with the young guy that is not really being too highly thought of. And look, whenever you go all in, it comes with a risk, right? If you're playing poker at the blackjack or playing poker at the poker table in Vegas, and you push all your chips to the middle of the table, there's a chance you'll lose. Nothing's guaranteed unless you're counting cards or you're doing something else to see what the guy's got. But I still say you hedge your bets. You do what you can to hedge your bets. It's not about going all in and just doing it to do it. You're going all in because you know that the window is beginning to close on the quarterback that's going to the Hall of Fame. And they don't, for you to find another Hall of Fame quarterback is almost unheard of. Historically speaking, it's not going to happen. Right? You don't find three in a row. You just don't. Let's take a look at the quarterbacks that have won. Tampa Bay just won. Tom Brady, he's going to the Hall of Fame. Kansas City won. Patrick Mahomes is well on his way to a Hall of Fame career. Go back to New England, Tom Brady, they won. Philadelphia, Nick Foles, no. They had a good defense, but no. Prior to that, New England, they won. Denver, Peyton Manning, Hall of Fame. New England, we all know. Seattle, Russell Wilson, probably a Hall of Fame quarterback. Baltimore, prior to that, Joe Flacco, no, he's not going. And I would assume neither is Eli Manning. Right? I would assume neither is he. Eli Manning's got 2 Super Bowls, but is Eli Manning really a Hall of Fame quarterback? I don't think so. Packers, they got to win. Aaron Rodgers. Before that, Drew Brees, Hall of Fame quarterback. Before that, Pittsburgh, Ben Roethlisberger, he's going. Before that, you got Eli Manning, he's not going. Before that, Peyton Manning, he's going. Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady. So, I mean, it just goes all the way back. We're all the way back to 2004. The majority of Super Bowls that were won were with teams with Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Pittsburgh, New Orleans, Green Bay, Indianapolis, Seattle. They're all Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Peyton Manning was average at best when he won the Super Bowl with Denver. Well, but he wasn't when he won with Indianapolis over Chicago. But my point is that Hall of Fame quarterbacks get you there. One way, shape, or form, they get you there. My point beyond that is you don't, when you have a Hall of Famer in your stable, you don't set your sights on the future with a guy that's unproven. You get to a Super Bowl most of the time with the guy that you know that's going to the Hall of Fame. And you're right. Peyton Manning, he was average at best when he won the Super Bowl. So what did? They built a defense around him. So you put a defense around Aaron Rodgers, who's still at his peak, and chances are you're in a Super Bowl and you win it. That's my point. So when people talk about the Jordan Love era and let's move on and this and that, I get it because of the money. If Aaron Rodgers made 15 or 20 million bucks, you wouldn't give a damn. You'd be like, go all in, use all that money, spend it on defense, spend it on this, spend it on that. But because he makes a ton of money, he does hamstring the franchise. And for the life of me, I get it because quarterbacks should be the highest paid player. They touch the ball the most. But you have to look at it and say, you have to set your ego aside. Because quarterbacks go, I want respect. Well, that's fine. You get respect. You get all the money, but you don't get to a Super Bowl. You're not winning Super Bowls. (877-867-1670), 877-867-1670. Eric says, that's my point as well. Sign some vets on defense. And that needs a restructure of Aaron Rodgers' contract, and then and I agree. But that's the reason I'm not so quick to jumpstart the Jordan Love era, because you don't know what you have in Jordan Love, and it's certainly the indicators are that he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's not of that level. He wasn't coming in. He's certainly not high, even higher thought of now. Mark says you're an idiot. Mark, are you talking to me? What are you talking about? Explain yourself. Comments like that don't get a lot of respect when you just fire those off because of what? Is that all you got? Mark Fugit or Fugit? Jim says, do I like what they are doing? I like the results, not particularly happy about how they're going about it. Communist China right now, LOL. Because you want to know. You want to know what's happening. I get it. You want to figure it out. 877-867-1670. Got emails to get to. More people chiming in over on Twitter as well. This is from Steve. Steve says, I like the re-signing of Robert Tonyan once they get him back in the fold. He's another good weapon. Kay says, between Aaron Jones, Tonyan coming back, Funchess coming out of the COVID protocol. Well, he wasn't in the protocol. He just opted out because of COVID. But I get what you're saying. And hopefully they'll extend Devontae Adams and make him happy. Everybody should be firing on all cylinders. I'm excited about the offense. I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. Foxy Steve says, which just is weird to say Foxy Steve, but Foxy Steve says, I think that the Packers need a couple more moves and then a really good draft. If you get 3 starters out of the draft, we are all in. Let's go to Alan listening to us in La Crosse. Alan, welcome to the program, man. What's going on?
Hey, Bill. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
I've been a Packers fan since '97. I was 8 years old. Let me roll up my window here. And looking back to when they took Aaron Rodgers and all the Packers fans were so mad about them taking Aaron Rodgers. People also didn't think Aaron Rodgers was very good, I think, until his third year. His first 2 years, he looked horrible in the preseason and the offseason, if I remember correctly. So just as someone that's just hoping, maybe, I really hope that the best is yet to come from Jordan Love. Just hoping they made the right decision, because if they traded up to get him and it doesn't work out, I mean, that's just not good. So I guess my hopes are high. Still think Jordan Love could be what they're hoping he is, and I like the moves they've made so far. I like that they got Aaron Jones at a discount. Sucks that they lost Corey Linsley, but I think they can replace the center in the draft. It's not like they lost one of their tackles. So, yeah, hopes are still high. They should be right back in it next year. Defense finish the year strong. Go Pack, go. Thanks for taking my call.
There you go. You the man. I pretty high. Granted, he didn't great in his first few preseason games, but you could kind of see what he was. And don't forget, he was also a guy that was expected by many to go number 1 overall in the draft. So to compare him to Jordan Love is a little bit unfair, because Jordan Love was not, by any stretch of the imagination, supposed to come as highly drafted. There was a lot of people thinking he was going to be a round 2. Some even had him at a round 3 level type of quarterback. So the Packers were the ones that were high on him. There might have been the reason they probably jumped up to draft him was because Tennessee probably had their eye on him too, just because we knew they needed a quarterback. But yeah, it's I can't compare Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love at the same point in time in their career in the NFL, because Aaron Rodgers came with so much more of an upside. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. Hopefully you're enjoying your day today. Certainly appreciate you taking a listen to us. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. And thanks to Steve and Mark and James and everybody hanging out. Mac Arthur, got a lot of Macs, but Mac Arthur states that he believes that Aaron Rodgers still has another 2 Super Bowl runs in him if the Packers just fortify the defense around him. I've said that for a while. I thought last year was a year in which they made their own mistakes. Go back a couple of years to San Francisco in that NFC Championship game. They were just out talented, I guess is the best way to put it. They were just out talented. They couldn't stop the run defensively. They weren't there. Bullet Tackleberry says, I'd take a stud running back over a stud center all day, every day. The gap between elite center to the next tier is much smaller than the gap between elite running backs and the rest of the pack. Jason says, that Mark guy is a moron. Do you know he works at Kern Electric? I do know that. Yeah, I've used Kern Electric too. Good people over there. Mark might be a little bit of a hothead and maybe a guy you don't want coming to your house, but the rest of them over there are pretty good. Joe and Steve and everybody. I like those guys. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, go ahead and do so. Somebody called in and wanted to know if we could shout out the Clintonville Shawano station that carries us. I don't know the call letters. That's terrible. I don't know the call letters for the Shawano Clintonville affiliate that carries us there. I got to find that out during the break. I'll do that. Promise I'll do that. Let's go to Alan listening to us in La Crosse. La Crosse, I do know. WKTY 96.7 FM and 580 AM. There you go. Alan, what's going on, man?
He dropped off, Bill.
He dropped off. Oh, my good, Alan. Alan, you should have hung in there. We were coming right to you. Good stuff. Maxie says, I think that the Packers are doing the right thing. I think they're going slow, but I think they're going to end up with a big-time corner. Gotcha. Big-time corner. Hope so. Mark says you go back through the history of the Super Bowl and all the Super Bowl winners, look at all the players that were Hall of Famers versus the players that were not. More often than not, those teams that won a Super Bowl had a Hall of Fame quarterback. Well, you go back, even you look at the 70s, okay? Baltimore and Johnny Unitas, Hall of Famer. You can say the Jets, Joe Namath, obviously the Green Bay Packers with the first few, and you go from there. Then you look, Bob Greasy in Miami, Terry Bradshaw in Pittsburgh, Ken Stabler in Oakland, Roger Staubach in Dallas. San Francisco is Joe Montana. Washington is Joe Theismann. San Francisco certainly is, I had mentioned Joe Montana. Who else? Phil Simms and the Giants. You just keep kind of going through the list there. Phil Simms again with the Giants. Dallas is Troy Aikman. Steve Young in San Francisco. Green Bay and Brett Favre. Denver and John Elway. So, you just go through this list of players that have won Super Bowls, and very few do you get to the Trent Dilfers and the Joe Flaccos of the world. Again, you when you have that Hall of Famer in your stable, you try to push all those chips to the middle of the table. By the way, Jeff said he thinks it's 1380 AM in Shawano and Clintonville. I'll find it. I'll track it down because I should know that. Shame on me. But that was my point. Is you're absolutely right. For all these teams, now granted, the Hall of Fame winning a Super Bowl adds to that resume, therefore qualifying you for a Hall of Fame. But all of these quarterbacks that I'm reeling off are extremely accomplished. It wasn't like they were one-hit wonders, you know? Yes, they may have won only one Super Bowl, but these were consistent high-end quarterbacks in the National Football League, which goes back to our discussion earlier. That's why when you haven't won in your stable, you try to do everything you can to support that team, to support that quarterback, because they can take you back there. That's the point. Whether or not they're on the backside of their career, Doug Williams, I mean, even was with Washington when he won it. I get that. But you go back to when you have one there, even if it's even like Peyton Manning, they were on their downside. Peyton Manning was still smart enough to do everything that he could to guide the offense. Now, the defense was the dominating factor, but they still scored points. It wasn't like that it was only the defense. But yes, when they won the Super Bowl against the Bears, Peyton Manning was on his game, and when he won the Super Bowl finally with the Denver Broncos, yeah, that defense ended up winning it. But don't forget, only 2 years earlier, he guided what was the best offense in all of football to the Super Bowl. He took them there again. So, just kind of when you take a grand look at that, you think, holy mackerel. You know, when you got that quality guy in your stable, you want to do everything you can. Everything you can to get back there time and time again, because eventually you're going to kick that door down yet again. 877-867-1670. Hey, Unit, I'm really excited for Badger hockey. Wouldn't it be great if the Badger hockey program won and Wisconsin Badgers beat North Carolina in the NCAA tournament? What a banner week it would be. It would be. Completely agree. Hey, don't forget Marquette women. They're in the NCAA tournament, UWM NCAA tournament. So there's some tournament stuff going on here in the state of Wisconsin. We can't just look at Madison. You got to look at Milwaukee as well. Both UWM women and Marquette women there as well. So exciting stuff. Good time to be a Wisconsinite. You've got a lot of optimism on the horizon regarding the Brewers, who, by the way, told Travis Shaw, yeah, you're in. And the Brewers got optimism. The Packers still have optimism. The Bucks have won 4 straight. Giannis eating chicken wings and pizza today, apparently. And then after that, he's going to be back at it. So, yeah. Kinger says, how many Wisconsin sports fans really care about Marquette? Are you talking people that just live in Wisconsin, or are you just talking about Wisconsin Badger fans that care about Marquette? Because I think that's two distinctly different things. How many Wisconsin sports fans really care about Marquette? I think they care about Marquette when Marquette's doing well. I think right now it's become, and the worst thing that can possibly happen to any program, professional or collegiate, is apathy. Where people just don't really care passionately. I think that's where a lot of Marquette fans are. I think a lot of Marquette fans are thinking the buyout on Wojo's contract is just too big. He has not done what they thought he would do. And again, you're asking yourself, is next year's recruiting class the class that's going to take him over the top? I think there's probably another year. One more, I can almost guarantee there's one more year. I never say never, but 95% of me says Wojo's coming back. He's going to get an opportunity again next year. After that, there might be some louder grumbling. But I know that there are more than a few boosters out there that are unhappy. But the athletic department, the president, they're happy with him. At least that's the indicator that I've gotten from people that are in the know. They're happy with him. But they also know that the buyout clause right now is just too big. I thought it was odd they signed him to the contract extension. I could see going a couple more years, but would they sign him to a 5-year contract extension? That was a little bit shocking to me. You have to really have a lot of faith and a lot of like in a guy to do that. Jeff says 96.5 FM in Shawano. 96.5 FM in Shawano. So there you go. Thank you very much. Let's get back to the phone calls. Daniel in Tokyo.
Yeah. Oh, okay. My question is, when Favre had to be replaced, he cost us the last game, and that's why people were not really surprised. Then remember he kept on threatening retirement.
Yes.
People forget about that. And then when it comes to Rodgers, he ain't even talked about retiring. He wants to keep on playing.
Correct.
I mean, to have something, all we heard every year for last 2 years on on Favre. I don't know if I want to play anymore. I don't know if I want to play anymore. And then he causes that 4th and 24th against Philadelphia. I mean, come on.
Yeah, 4th and 26.
And Rodgers
Yeah.
did not cost us this last game. It was the other play. It was the team that caused us play calling or whatever you want to call it, but it wasn't his play only that cost us.
No, it wasn't his play only. I agree with you, Daniel. I appreciate the go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying Rodgers is still peaking, so let's go with it.
Absolutely. Appreciate the phone call. I agree with all of that. Now, I'm not going to say Rodgers didn't help. I mean, Rodgers threw a pick. Rodgers tried to force the ball to Devontae Adams. He missed Allen Lazard wide open, and he could have ran for a lot of daylight and chose not to. So he did have some plays that you could look at and go, okay, I could second guess those. But to say that he completely lost the game, so to speak, I won't say that either. I mean, they had opportunities, numerous opportunities. There were, don't forget, the defense did get turnovers in that game. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think the offense only came up with 3 points out of 3 turnovers. You can call play calling. You can call the lack of cojones at the end by Matt LaFleur. I mean, there's plenty you can look into and say, yeah, that didn't end the way you thought it would. 877-867-1670. This is from Cody. Says, hey, Bill, do you pay attention to the chat on the YouTube channel? It all comes up into one stream for me. So you're the last person that I saw comment off of YouTube since Christopher, who wrote, use Thunderstruck as a bumper, and we'll call it Thunder instead of Thunder. We'll put Tanyan. He said, trust me, that'll work. So I do pay attention to it. Yes, I try to get to everybody. Jim says, I care about Marquette and the Badgers about equally. Then comes UW Green Bay Phoenix and UWM Panthers. Kinger says, I mean, I'll cheer for Marquette if they make the tournament and stuff, but not as much as I do for the Badgers. Well, the Badgers are a state school. That's got Wisconsin written across the chest. So, yeah, you tend to. It's much like, you look at Michigan. Michigan, a lot of people in Michigan root for Michigan first, and then it's Michigan State, and you kind of go from there. Same thing in Ohio. Growing up, Ohio State was a state school, but then you had University of Cincinnati, you had Xavier University, Miami of Ohio, you had all those schools. Cleveland State was another one. You can go through the list. So, yeah, I get it, because you had Ohio State written across the chest, but everybody else was pretty good in their own right. But football remains supreme in most of the upper Midwest. It just does. So that was where your first love was football, and then everything else was a trickle-down effect. But then again, back in the day, Ohio State was not any kind of a powerhouse when it came to basketball either. They weren't tops in basketball. They were a big football program, and they were good in basketball, but they weren't nearly what they are right now. So, I mean, back in the day, it was, when you talk about basketball, Illinois was really, really good. I mean, you can go through, even in the upper Midwest, don't forget Notre Dame was really good too under Digger Phelps. You had a lot to choose from. So you had a lot of good college basketball though in the area. You had Indiana back in the heyday with Bobby Knight. I had mentioned you had Bob Huggins. You have Rob Stack, and you had Pete Gillen. Pete Gillen took over the Xavier program and took it to a new level. You had Louisville with Denny Crum. So you had a lot of good programs. And then, like I mentioned, Rick Pitino took over the program for Kentucky and took that to a new level. So that there was, when growing up in Cincinnati, it was a hotbed for college basketball. I mean, we were talking college basketball all the time. And that was the only thing Kentuckians had, because their football program wasn't that good. Baseball was okay, but all they had was college basketball. And still, that's the way they feel about it. I mean, college basketball in Kentucky reigns supreme. Let's do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Lived down a dirt road.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Having a lot of fun today. You know what? Thanks to everybody that had chimed in. I had talked about St. Patrick's Day, and I had gotten an email earlier today regarding the favorite places to go for St. Patrick's Day fair. And boy, I tell you what, everybody started chiming in. So thanks to everybody for all the offers, so to speak. I'm going to be here tomorrow working on St. Patrick's Day, and I'm going to be here in the studio, based out of the house here in Brookfield, Wisconsin. So I'm not going to be traveling the state tomorrow, unfortunately. I wish I was. I wish I could get out and say hi to everybody, and I'll get there. You know what? When I start traveling again and things open up a little bit more, but we are going to do a lot this summer, a lot of traveling this summer. I want to get to a lot of the affiliates this summer, different outings this summer. So as I start to head into your area, there's a lot of places that I normally hit. Whenever I get to Eau Claire, as a matter of fact, Dave just said, have you been to Pizza Del Rey lately? I have not. I got to see JR and his whole crew up there. I have not been to Pizza Del Rey since the last time I was up there, which was last year. And that was when we had one of the cigar dinners over in Chippewa Falls at Loopy's High Shore Supper Club, which is not even Loopy's anymore. So I will try to get back into all those different areas. And yeah, we'll do some different things. I'm up for it. You let me know. Let me know. We'll swing by and say hi. So I love doing that kind of stuff. That's part of the reason I love, look, there's a certain oomph to doing this. Okay. There's a certain oomph to doing radio. There's a certain oomph to doing network radio, as you are considered one of the biggest and the baddest. Okay. There's a machismo to that, right? But in the grand scheme of things, when you get to travel to different areas, you get to get out in different places. It's just so much fun because you get a chance to meet so many different people and so many different experiences. And I get a chance to do things that I would never normally get a chance to do. So I love it. I can't wait to get back out and say hi to everybody. I really do. Cody says, beautiful. Thank you. Cody, you the man. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Mark says, if you don't know the affiliate in Shawano and Clintonville, Bill, that's fine. Come on up. We're more than willing to introduce you to everybody. In Clintonville and Shawano? I'll do that. Max, not Mac. Max says, listening to you up in Green Bay on the stream, driving up to WMAM later on. Wanted to say hi to everybody up there. Love having you back on the air. Jim and crew really enjoy you. Thank you very much. Tim says Packers didn't lose the game in the NFC Championship game against Tampa because of talent. No, they didn't. No, Tampa Bay was talented defensively. They put Aaron Rodgers on the run. Clearly, you could tell that they took advantage of not having David Bakhtiari there in the lineup. I would too. So yes, it was obvious. That was part of their plan. So yeah, it was partially because of the talent, because of what they did defensively. They put Aaron Rodgers on skates back there. But still, the Packers were able to move the football. The Packers were able to go up and down the field And they had a couple of drives stopped because of turnovers. Due in part on and obviously the hit they laid to Aaron Jones, which not only did he fumble, but he was knocked out of the game because of that. So there you go. Lord Pentup, Lordpentup, Lord Pentup says, I think the Packers are spending too much time on worrying about the salary cap and not enough time on getting quality talent. Get out and get some of these first-round guys through the first level of free agency. Please, I beg you, make this team better. Stop waiting for second and third and fourth day cuts or even cuts after June because all you're doing is buying bottom basement packaging. I don't know necessarily if I agree with that. I mean, go back to when they signed Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith. Nobody thought that signing was good. It turned out to be terrific. Pro Football Focus looks at the first day of free agency in the winners and the losers department. The winners and losers, the winners, they have a picture up of Corey Linsley as being one of the winners because of the payday he got. Shaquille Barrett as well. Some of the losers that are out there. By the way, the Raiders are releasing their Pro Bowl center, Rodney Hudson. A surprise in Vegas as their O-line receives a nearly, that's a complete facelift to that team. But they're releasing their Pro Bowl center. How about that? Not that I'm going to say go after him for a bargain basement price, but it is what it is. Tramon Williams officially retiring from the NFL. So there you go. Tramon Williams saying, thank you for all the great memories. Wishing everybody nothing but the best. Tramon Williams officially retiring from the NFL. There you go. Tramon Williams says, to the greatest organization in the NFL, the Green Bay Packers, thank you for allowing me, a very raw athletic kid, to live out my dream. Thank you to the late, great Ted Thompson for seeing the value in an undrafted free agent. Thank you, Alonzo Highsmith, Zoe to be exact, for finding me and pushing with everything you had to get me in. Thank you, Mark Murphy and Russ Ball, for always being so genuine. To my brother, Joe Witt, thank you for believing in me no matter what until this day. It means a lot. Thank you to all my teammates and coaches over the years. I got love for every one of you. Thank you to Flea and the training staff for keeping me on the field throughout my career. And to the best fans in the world, thank you for supporting me through the good and the bad. There you go. He said that's the true definition of a loyal fan base. Thank you, Goody, for bringing me back and allowing me to finish this journey in Green Bay and green and yellow. That meant everything to me. No matter what jersey I wore, I always carried the G. Number 38, clocking out at 38. There you go. So Tramon Williams signing off, if you will. Tramon Williams calling it a career. So he is not coming back, obviously. But Tramon Williams, really classy guy. I always loved Tramon. Always did. Always did. On that note, let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. Final segment, Bill Michaels Show, coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. Final segment of the Bill Michaels Show before we get out of here today and do our St. Patrick's Day edition. I unveiled the St. Patrick's Day T-shirt tomorrow, by the way. I did get one, so gonna have that rocking tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Yeah, Teron Williams, for those that don't know, maybe just tuning in just a little while ago, retweeting that or tweeting out there that he is officially calling it a career, thanking everybody in the Packers organization for all that, Ted Thompson, Alonzo Highsmith, you go through the whole list of people, and then getting last but certainly not least, the fans in Green Bay and discussing how much they meant to him in his career. But Teron Williams calling it a career, retiring from football. He says 38 out at 38. 38 being his number and 38 being his age. Saying 38 out at 38 and calling it a career. So there you go. The Kinger says we'll never forget the 2010 NFC Divisional Round playoff game against Atlanta after he went with a pick six. He said, I knew that game was over. Best of luck and best of wishes. There you go. And I hope he ends up as a Packers coach. I think I still the best Teron Williams story I have is they're going into the postseason and the locker room's open and it's packed. Once the Packers got to much like the Kinger alluded to was the divisional round, we started talking about how well they're playing and the defensive secondary coming together. And I started talking to him and I said, what has made all of this so good? Why did you, Sam Shields, Nick Collins, all of this really started to come together, those guys in that secondary? And he pointed at Charles Woodson. And I said, just because of him? And he said, I'm thinking it's on the field stuff. And it wasn't. He said, that man taught me how to study. And I said, well, tell me, what do you mean? He said, I never knew how to study. Coaches don't teach you how to study. They show you things on the board and on your computers, but they don't teach you how to study the way that Charles did. Charles had an instinct for things. And he said he taught me how to study. And he attributed the rise of his career directly to Charles Woodson. He said, yeah, it was just sitting with him in film study, and he would constantly quiz us. And I'd say, well, how did that work? I mean, he would say, okay, what's happening here? And he'd say, we wouldn't even have motion on the film. And just by the alignment, Charles could tell you what was about to happen, which is what made Charles so good. There's very few people that have the innate ability to just look at something and go, here you go. You know who else was like that? Brian Noble. When I used to sit with Brian Noble in the press box, and back when him and I did the postgame show together on the Packers Radio Network, Brian would lean over and he'd say, here you go. They're going here. This is where they're looking. And I'd say, how do you know that? You know, and just there's an innate ability to study and to see things by some people. And it just, Charles Woodson's one of those guys. He passed that along to Tramon Williams. And that's why I would love to see Tramon Williams come back to the Packers as a coach, because I really believe that Tramon Williams has some really terrific things to offer in that realm. So at 38 years of age, Tramon Williams just moments ago announcing he is retiring, saying thank you to all of my teammates and the coaches over the years. I got love for every one of you. Thank you to Flea and the training staff. Keep me on the field. He talks about Ted Thompson, Alonzo Highsmith, Goody for bringing him back. And then he specifically says, thank you for the best fans. So really cool stuff on this particular day. Good stuff. Coming up tomorrow, it is the edition. First of all, we're going to find out tonight about any positive COVID tests. So we'll find out if there's any teams that are not going to be in the NCAA tournament. So we'll give the official bracket tomorrow. So that'll be coming up on the program. In addition to that, we will then be discussing St. Patrick's Day, as we will be putting it out there, what we're doing, where you're at, where you're listening to the program tomorrow. If indeed you're out and about, or maybe you're hunkered down, you've got your own. We'll be taking anybody's got pictures of your desk, of your setup, of your brew, of your fare of the day. Send them to us, tweet them to us, hit us up over on Facebook, whatever. You can send them there. So that tomorrow is coming up. We'll talk about the Bucks getting back at it tomorrow as well. And are the Bucks now the favorite in the East? Now, even though Brooklyn has been climbing, with Joel Embiid going down, are the Bucks going to be the team to beat in the East? So we'll talk a little more basketball tomorrow. We'll talk some more Brewers baseball as well, I'm sure. And hopefully we hear more news, more breaking news from the Green Bay Packers. Not the Packers losing players, but maybe more so the Packers actually, bringing in additional players. So not about, Corey Linsley moving on to another team, or not about Tramon Williams retiring from football, but more so about different players that are coming into the organization. So we got all that coming up tomorrow. So good stuff as always. Thanks to everybody for paying attention to the program. Thanks for following us over on the live stream. To all of you, as I point to you, that are watching, certainly appreciate it. Whether it's on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, on Twitch, please subscribe. I really, really do appreciate each and every one of you for subscribing and growing this channel and growing the live feed. So thanks so much on the Bud Light live stream. And it's time for us to get out of here. So until tomorrow, have a good one. See ya.